There's an ad. I didn't run an ad. I don't know why that happened. Oh. Well, anyway. Weird. Okay. So we're all here. Alright, so I know absolutely nothing about this game. Other than that, it is gay. And it's yandere, and it's horror. And if there's anything about me, it's I love horror. And I love yuri. So when I heard that there was a yuri game with lesbians that my friend sent me, I was like, oh, bet. So, I don't know why, but my heart's beating a lot. I'm like really scared. I'm like, what if there's something in here? And like, I was told it wasn't going to be that bad, but I've also been told that there's cannibals. So, I've probably read fanfics that are worse, but we're gonna find out. All right, and there's only one way to do it, and by hitting start. Also, I am so sorry about my voice. I choked on food. I know my throat hurts. This is my own fault. I can't eat. It's the daily choke. Yes, cannibalistic horror lesbians. I'm gonna do my best to narrate, but I don't know if I can do voices. Normally I would try, but I don't think I can. Not today, because my voice, it hurts. I have water, but also I have emoticons now. I got emotes. I don't know how to activate them or make them work, but I have them now. Let's go. Anyway, I'm gonna hit start. Okay. You're running through a forest. It's late at night and the sky is black as pitch. There's nothing to light your way save for the moon's milky glow, but its rays cannot reach you, not properly. Okay. The trees which surround you, jutting out of the earth like eerie monuments to a foreign god, are blotting out most of the light. This is fancy writing. Oh, I didn't know that. Well, I tried. We'll try and figure it out later, but you cannot see where you're going, even if you had commenced your flight at a more sensible hour. However, with the light of the sun to aid you, it would be a little of use. You do not know where you're going. Me either. I never know where I'm going. You have no map, no route, no plan. Same. You're running like a frightened animal, anxious and nervy, with no destination in mind. Yep, sounds about right. You have no desire as you run, save to escape. Escape what? You cannot let yourself be caught. If that were to happen, you are certain that you would be ruined. Ruined by what? Oh no. You have no choice, therefore. But you keep going on. But to keep going on and on and on, though your feet are screaming at you for mercy. I can't read. I'm sorry. I'm like the worst narrator ever. You have no idea how long you've been running. Time has begun to blend together. It has lost all meaning. Mood, me at work. Something sharp snags at the hem of your skirt, but you do not have the luxury to pause and examine what's happened. Instead, you tug. Your skirt tears and the sound splitting through the forest, and you stumble forward with a shocked gasp. Bah! You are free, but at what cost? Your skirt has irrevocably been damaged. It might be too late to worry about such trivial matters now, though. If you do not start running again, and soon, she will catch you. Ooh, Udo. Then your life will be over, will it though? Oh no, a pretty woman. Oh no. As a lesbian. Hi Pip, hello. You do not know if she is still following you, but you do not want to risk looking over your shoulder. I would though, I'm weak. I'll fold so fast. I'm at work so I can't watch for very long, but I'll hop in when I can. Yay! I'm just hoping that whoever it is A, hot, B, strong, and C, I don't know. I don't know what C is, but for a pretty woman, yeah, no, literally, I'd fold so fast, dude. If you were to see her silhouetted beneath a tree looking at you with a sickly sweet smile, which once ensnared you, bet, you would lose what little nerve you possess, bet. Your legs would lock up and your blood would freeze in your veins, would it though? I'm not a coward. Sounds like you were weak. Then you would crumple. You would fall, but you would not hit the ground. She would be there to catch you hot. Did she not promise when you made that contract that you would never be alone? Oh, nice. You would like to take back that silly wish of yours, but it is too late for that. It is too late for a lot of things. All you can do is run. You run and run and run and run while icy fog swirls about your feet. It's cold enough to sap the heat from your body. You shudder from it. It feels as though you're drowning. It feels as though you are being buried alive. Your knees and your shins, meanwhile, are bleeding. I am not serious. I apologize. No, really. No, you cannot endure much more of this. But if you value your own life, you must. You run and you run and you run until, at long last, you reach a fork in the road. Run in, run in. There are 3 paths which split off through the forest. Well, 4 if you count the path which you came from, but you cannot exactly double back on yourself, though, not when you have put so much effort into running forwards. You can only press on. The 3 paths are signposted, which is something of a strange sight given you are so deep in the forest. Dark though it might be, you have grown accustomed to the shadows. You can just about pick out the writing on this old, dilapidated signpost, curved and slanted though it is. Your fate, if you will, forgive me for sounding cliché, is in your hands. Now I wonder, which path will you take? Ooh, you have a choice. Where should we go? Because personally, I'm always partial to a good castle. I do be loving Lady Dimitrescu. A village could be promising. We can make a friend. Or we can go to the shore. And maybe there's a mermaid. I don't know. What do we think? Where should we go? I'm thinking, honestly, castle. See if Noi has any ideas. 2, you want to go to the village? Village, huh? Okay, we're gonna go to the village. Okay, so you want to go to the village? Good idea. Let's see what further trials await you there. Why not? What is this gay shit? Why not? The night is far from over, as much as you might wish it was, and there is still much more to discover. I wonder what will happen next. Hi, Mr. Mod. We've started playing Yuri games. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Okay. You follow the path which leads to the village, supporting yourself on weary, achy limbs which feel ready at a moment's notice to snap at the knee beneath the burden of your weight. Call me fat? The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lay down, and quickly. Your only hope as you continue to run that you will find a suitable residence in which to rest at the village. You do not know what will await you in the village, but you have visions as you run of a quaint, scenic settlement, all thatched cottages with sloping roofs. What in the cottagecore? Surely there will be a kindly peasant who will be willing to put up with a young runaway for a few nights. I hope. This can only bode well. You can imagine, too, the face of this kindly peasant from the fairy tales I read in abundance as a small child. She will be broad-shouldered and ruddy-faced with a dull brown hair crammed beneath a cap. How old is this? What date are we in? Her arms will be sturdy from many years of washing clothes and milking cows, but she will be kind to you and compassionate, just like a mother. Also, I got mommy issues, too. Sick. This really is me. No, for real. You do not know what mothers are like. What? You hardly ever spoke to yours. You're only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream. You do have a few reservations. Oh. Thank you, Mr. Mod. Yes, Bobber! Peasants do not, as you know from your ferocious reading, have much money, nor do they have much food. It will be hard to convince a resident of the village, even the kindly washerwoman of your fantasies, to take in a complete stranger. Still, you must try. That is all you can do, really. Oh. So you run to the village. It takes some time before you fully emerge from the woods, but finally, you manage it. Oh. Oh my god, Noi. Noi! Don't forget to sober. Okay, anyway. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say that time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwell within it. It is still cold, though, and still foggy. And it's still dark. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or orb or crystal ball. The moonlight shines down upon the village, nestled among the hills like a diorama. Hope anew bubbles within you. You have finally made it. Surely not, but your salvation waits you. All the bobberts. You follow the winding dirt path to the village, looking this way and that. But your hope, such a precious fragile thing, soon begins to fade. The village up close does not look half as welcoming as you had imagined. I didn't think it would be. There are cottages, yes, but they are in a state of disrepair. There are holes in the roofs and holes in the windows. Most of the doors are tightly shut, but others are gaping open. Kitchens beyond Oh man, the looter in me? I love stuff. I would want to go exploring. The kitchens beyond them even darker than the night sky which shrouds you. There are no lights on in any of the windows, and neither can you see people, insomniacs like you, at them. You cannot hear anything either beyond the sound of your own footsteps and the low, mournful sighing of the wind. The village is quite quiet, eerily so. This can only end well. It is immediately obvious, even to a naive girl such as yourself, that something terrible must have befallen this village. You know before you try your luck at one of these houses that nobody will answer you. There will be no kindly red-armored washerwoman to welcome you here, no matter how much you would. Oh, yeah, that'd be nice. With big muscles. Nice. But that does not stop you from wishing regardless. Didn't wishing get me in this mess to begin with? Your knuckles rap smartly against the wooden door. Your efforts soon prove, however, to be in vain. There is nobody here to hear your entreaties. How very sad. You try another door, then another, but the result is the same regardless of how many doors you rap upon. Nobody answers you. How could they? There's nobody here. So that sounds perfect. We can just go anywhere. You can go into any house. Okay, squatter's rights. Let's go. Once again, you find yourself all alone. Is that so bad, though? Ooh, I skipped the thing. Can I go back? Yeah! At least you have found some dwellings in which you can rest your weary head. Will you utilize one of these cottages for your purposes? Nobody is here, you may as well. But no, an abandoned cottage is not what you are looking for. You would far rather have companionship, would you not? Bravely, you swallow your tears. You wipe your eyes with the back of your arm in a well-practiced motion, then inhale. You square your shoulders, and you keep on going. See, this is not me. I would have stayed. 100%. I would have stayed. Surely the village cannot be completely deserted. There must be one person here at the very least who can help you. That's what you're thinking as you resume your search. Now, I've played a lot of games with deserted villages, and they are almost always either evil or empty, so you flit from cottage to cottage with precious little to show for your determination, until you make yet another discovery. This village... Oh, the music got very loud. The village with its squat thatched cottages bathed in the moon's glow has a church. Well, of course it has a church. The villagers who once dwelt here were not godless heathens. Not that their faith did them all that much good in the end. Still, the sight of a church soothes your overtaxed heart. Am I Christian? You were so focused on your fantasies of a kindly washerwoman taking you in, you did not pause to entertain the fancy of a kindly nun doing much the same. No, I don't blame you. Strong washerwoman? Listen, not for this. All hope is not lost. You approach the church, which seems to tower over you despite it being so humble. The church is a small one, but it is stout and sturdy. It must be, for it has withstood centuries, forever standing sentinel on this hill like a relic from a bygone era. The church does not have any stained glass windows, but it does not need them. Even without more luxurious trappings, the church still exudes an aura of dignified solemnity. The stone building is fringed by the sizable graveyard, one which occupies the rest of the hilltop and some of its sloping sides. The graves, which have been planted by generations of wardens, are hewn from a similar stone that which the church's walls are made of. Some of the gravestones are shaped like lozenges. Lozenges? Okay. While others are shaped like crosses. A handful of headstones are even shaped like angels, though these are few and far between. There are a few people in the village such as this one, who can afford such luxuries as a final resting place. Blah, blah, blah. You look at the tombstones with almost childlike curiosity, forgetting in your examination of the visceral, heart-rending fear which gripped you as you ran to... Yeah, I was just gonna say, were we running from our lives, for a second ago? Okay, I would not have stopped, but alright. You're out of the woods now, and you have subconsciously already begun to relax, and that's where you messed up. You try to read the names hewn on the myriad tombstone, but it is dark and you are tired, and some of these graves are very, very old indeed. You strain your eyes, but you do not have much luck in this endeavor. Oh well. Which superfluous details are not important. No, they're not. Eventually tiring of examining the graves in turn. The graveyard is an expansive one, unusually so, given the village itself is so small. How can it boast so many corpses? And there's so much to explore. Now that's giving me plague. My throat hurts very much, but I have water. It's okay. If I can't talk tomorrow, it's fine. You walk about the perimeter of the church, casting your gaze first here, then there, then everywhere, consumed as you are by your immense, all-encompassing curiosity. Again, girl, run! And as you do, you see her. Oh, it's a different girl. She looks like an ordinary girl, small and scrawny, just like yourself, but she is much, much more than her unremarkable appearance might suggest. For some moments you observe her, hiding all the while in the shadow cast by the church, like a furtive lizard clinging against the rocky edifice to shroud itself from the sun. There is no sunlight here, though. There is only the night sky and the stars and the moon. Beneath the moon's light, a silvery implement the girl is clutching shimmers. It takes you a few moments to see what it is the girl is clutching in her hands. Blah, blah. It is not until you see her manipulate it, its sharp edge biting into the earth, that you understand. This is seriously reading plague to me. This is giving the town was hit by plague. I'm just saying. It is a shovel. The girl is standing in an isolated corner of the churchyard, late at night, and she's digging a grave. Well, you suppose she could always be digging a hole for the sake of it, but her work seems much too precise for this to be a result of mere whimsy. I don't think the shovel's... Oh, it is broken. Huh. It's hard for you to see her face, given the distance between the pair of you, but her posture is one that speaks of supreme concentration. She moves slowly, mechanically, like a woman on a mission, driving the end of her shovel into the earth over and over. Her motions are regular enough to be repetitive. There is something hypnotic almost in the manner in which she attends this task. Should you risk interrupting her? Do you dare? You get the feeling that she would not appreciate it. The shovel in her hands, meanwhile, is rather hefty. If she wished it, she could cause you no small amount of damage with it. Cold anxiety makes your skin prickle. You do not know if you should risk speaking to her when she, in her dark cloak, with her shovel, looks so very strange. But what do I have left to lose? Come this far. It would be a folly to turn back now. It is with this thought in your mind that you decide to approach I would not, but okay. Sus. No, very sus. Listen, I read some of the warnings before I started this game, and I don't know if I want to tell you guys the warnings, but I have a feeling I know where this is going, and it's one of my fears. So I'm like, oh no. Your footsteps are quiet. You've grown accustomed to slinking around like a cat, but they are not quiet enough. The girl's senses must be finely tuned because she blinks. Oh. Then she turns. Your eyes meet, and once they do, you feel your breath catch in your throat. You did not have a clear view of the girl before, concealed as you were in the shadows, but now she is looking at you, and you can tell that she is very pretty. Oh, well, a lot of apparently a couple endings get you final destination. So, yeah. I mean, it's a yandere game, so I expected that at least one or two of the ends, you would die. So that's fine. Again, I've read horror romance fanfiction that also ended in dying, so it's not that bad. I can handle it. Her skin is very smooth, and her hair, though obscured by a dark hood, is very fair. Her eyes, meanwhile, are clear, cool blue like ice. Those eyes of hers, which are large with unease, are fringed with very long fair eyelashes. She looks as though she has stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She is simply too perfect to belong in this world. She's gonna trope you, bury your case. No. Perhaps she is some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination. But no, she's none of those things. The shovel she is clutching in her hands looks solid enough, its pointed tip glittering wickedly in the moonlight. You steel yourself, expecting perhaps some sort of outburst, but the tension soon drains from the girl's slender shoulders. Her fingers, which once were gripping the handle of her shovel tightly, relax. Her lips curve upward at the edges. She is smiling. Oh, great. And what a smile it is. Killed by a white woman. Sad. It is transformative. When she smiles, she looks radiant, angelic. Oh, I wouldn't say that. Hers is a smile that is so suffused with light that your eyes begin to prickle from it. You are so relieved, you almost feel as if you could cry. It would not be the first time you have wept during this night, and neither would it be too surprising if you did. You have been through a lot. It must be exhausting. Absolutely. The girl holding the shovel seems to realize this because she bridges the distance between you cautiously, as one might approach a skittish cat. Then she says in a rough voice which does not match her dainty appearance, "Well, she does live in a rural village. What were you expecting?" Oh god, I don't know if I can do that. I need Noi to come in here and do the voices. Oh, it's so good to see another person. I was afraid I was the only person left alive. Oh wait, maybe I should give her a country accent. The only one in the whole world. Now this is quite an effusive greeting. Her introductory speech is riddled with exclamation marks. She is more rather personable than her apparel would make one suggest. You, a well-bred young lady, cannot help but feel overwhelmed. It is your turn now to be on your guard. Anxiously, you observe the girl with the shovel. You ask her what she means. Oh, I mean, if you want to come in, you're more than welcome to. Do you want to voice the characters? Because I can't. Here, let me get you in here. Here, like I got you. Come on in here. See if I can get Noi in here. Noi! There you are. Can't hear you. One moment. Give me a sec. Gotta fix my headphones. One sec.
Hold on.
Now I can hear you. Hello. Okay.
Hold on. You gotta share your screen.
Oh yeah, I gotta share my screen. That's right. Here, one sec. So I can probably do hers because that's a country accent. I can do that.
You got a country accent?
She got a country accent. I got that. I was raised in the sticks. I'm a bear. I got this. Anxiously, you observe the girl with the shovel and you ask her what she means. What happened? Oh, do you not know? There is an awful lot you do not know. So much, in fact, you would fill a whole encyclopedia. No, a whole library. You shake your head, ashamed at your ignorance, and the girl frowns. You mustn't be from around these parts. I guess I should have known. This village is a small one, and everybody knows everybody else. The girl's expression falls. At least they used to, back when there were still people to know. That ain't the case now, though. Not after the plague. I knew it was a plague! I knew it! I knew it was plague! I knew
it was plague.
I knew it was the plague! I knew it in my bones, and I was right. Give me one sec. I need to turn the game down. I can't hear Noi. Oh, it's so loud. La Praga.
Yeah, I was whispering.
La Praga. Okay. Well, there was a plague. I knew it. That would certainly explain why the village, when you walked through it, was so quiet.
Yeah, I'll change myself into a plague version.
A plague version?
There you go.
Did everybody else succumb to this mysterious illness? Oh my god. That's right. It's just me here. Oh, wait. Sorry. That's right. It's just me here now. I've not seen another human being in so long time. I get so lonely here. Now that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a brrr. Have you heard it before? You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the girl takes a step towards you. Oh, but where are my manners? They must have gone rusty after being on my feet on my own for so long. My apologies, miss. You look like you come a long way. You said you were a traveler, yeah? And your hands are very cold, just like ice. I'm inspired by Jasper from Twilight. Battle scars.
Does Jasper have an accent like that?
Yes, in Twilight he does.
Why?
Battle scars. Because he's from Texas, I guess.
I never noticed.
Oh, my throat. Ow. Ow, I'm laughing too hard. I'm so sorry. Ow. Okay. Do you want to try and voice the? Do you want to try and voice the Southern woman?
The Southern woman.
Yeah.
Did you want to like super Southern or just Southern twang?
You know what? Live your life.
Live my life. Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
All right.
Alrighty. All right, let's go.
Would you like me to come inside? Would you like to come inside? Would you like to come inside? Maybe we have something warm to eat and drink. My home's small, I'm afraid, and my foods ain't nothing fancy. But I'd be more than willing to share.
Keep going.
Oh, hold on. It's not every other day another girl stops by, especially not one as pretty as yourself. I'm feeling very blessed.
And I'm feeling uncomfortable. The girl laughs, a carefree, airy, soft sort of laugh, which does not match your initial impression of her. You thought when you saw her among the graves that she would be more distant somehow, and more mysterious. Perhaps you are mixing her up with somebody else.
That's a little
You are
sus.
right? We were just running from certain doom anyway. You are still unsure if you can trust this girl. You shouldn't, but her invitation is an appealing one. It is much more appealing, certainly, than spending the night outdoors in the cold, kipping on graves. What are you, a romantic poet? No, I can't even read, please.
Falling in love with a random grave digger you found in the village.
Aw, thank you, dragon. Ah. You make a show of pondering the girl's invitation. At the very least, you do not want to appear too eager, but you're a quick what?
You're a quick way?
I can't read that word. That's a big word. That's a big word for Elmo. Acquiescence is
alas, an inevitability.
That's a big word for Elmo.
That's a big word for Elmo.
Why would you ever refuse her? She is the first friendly face you've seen all night. Without her, you'd be all alone. Oh, scene change. Your hostess leads you to a small, humble home located but a stone's throw away from the church, built in the shadows of a twisted, towering sycamore. The girl's home is in such a state it seems a folly to even call it a home. Girl? Hovel would be the more appropriate descriptor. But when your hostess leads you inside, her eyes alive, and she says,
"Here we are, home sweet home."
This is a trap. You do not have the heart to tell her that you don't find her home very homey or very sweet. That would be incredibly rude. As a guest, you ought to be more appreciative. Half-heartedly, you look around your newfound surroundings. Oh, this music's nice. The ceiling is supported by a wooden joist, and it's perilously low.
Realistically speaking, I would also be, what's it called? Folding immediately for a pretty woman.
Yeah, I mean, it is a pretty woman. I mean, this is a trap, but it's fine. The ceiling is supported by a wooden joist. Whoa! Hello, thank you. Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god, thank you. The ceiling is supported by a wooden joist and it is perilously low. Not so much so that you are in danger of bumping your head, but just enough to feel claustrophobic. There is a fire in the corner, though it is not consigned to a grate. The fire instead is blazing in the open, a circle of logs set alight like a scene from a witch's kitchen. Above the fire hangs a silvery pot, suspended from one of the wooden eaves. Other objects of interest are hung from the eaves. Iron implements you take to be cooking utensils, various herbs, and strips of meat left to cure. The smell of cooking fills the air, mingled with the sharp, sour scent of unwashed bodies. However, you wonder, does your hostess clean herself? God, I hope.
Why are you thinking about this?
I hope. You do not see the bathtub anywhere. Perhaps she does not possess one. Oh, gross. The girl's home is unremarkable in every regard, but it is, you suppose, better than nothing. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, sorry, I skipped a line. The girl's home is unremarkable in every regard, better than nothing. Okay. At least there is a roof over your head. Oh, no. I didn't do that.
Took off her hood.
Oh, nope. Stop it. The girl looks at the pot suspended over the fire. No, stop it. which she gives... You know what? I'm just gonna let it do it.
Are you on auto?
Am I on auto? How do I turn auto off?
Did you? I don't even know.
I think I fixed it.
Okay,
The girl
there you
looks at the pot suspended over the fire, which she gives a stir with a ladle. Then she brings the ladle to her lips to taste whatever concoction she is brewing within it. You can only hope that she is not, like the weird sisters from that famous play, brewing a broth filled with fenny snake fillets.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
This is just about done.
The girl says to nobody in particular. She sets the ladle down, back in the pot, and then looks at you and smiles.
What's in the pot? What's in the pot?
It's people.
I bet it is.
Cannibals.
People.
One of the warnings was
them.
cannibalism. I feel like it's cannibals.
Cannibalistic horror lesbians, I've been saying.
Oh my gosh. Go ahead.
Oh, do you want something? It looks as though you've come quite the long way, and you must be hungry.
These words are like music to your ears, even more divine than the trumpets of God's most loyal angels. You are so hungry you could eat a horse. Not that there are any horses in the immediate vicinity. You express your interest to your hostess, who smiles and responds.
Your horse? Yeah, okay.
I can't read. I'm only flea.
I thought
Isn't this just
you'd
yellow
like the sound of
jackets?
that. Just give me a few moments.
That is so unsettling. Your hostess retrieves two earthenware bowls from a cupboard with rickety hinges, into which she pours 2 hefty helpings of whatever she's cooking. This she serves with bread, which is so hefty it could be used as a murder weapon. You know, you can't eat at everyone's house.
You can eat at everybody's house.
There you go. Go ahead.
Not much, I'm afraid. It's only soup and bread. It should take the edge off your appetite, though.
You thank your hostess for her hospitality, your stomach rumbling all the while. The soup does not look like anything you would typically consume, but the soup's poor presentation does not dissuade you. It should. It is true enough that people eat first with their eyes, but when one is hungry enough, one becomes obliging enough to eat almost anything. Why else do you think that people, when stranded upon a desert island, would resort to cannibalism?
Foreshadow.
Oh God, I knew it. Humans are creatures of necessity. You like to wrap yourselves up in the pretensions, but in actuality, you are not much better than the animals. You are so hungry, your stomach is achingly empty, but you certainly descend upon your food like an animal.
You're a fucking dog.
I'm a bear, so I can relate to
Your
this.
teeth glint and your incisors gleam. You're a fucking dog.
I have 2 big teeth, so that's okay with me. It's immersion. And soon you have consumed all that your hostess has to offer you. Your hostess watches while you eat, and she giggles once you finished.
Did you enjoy that?
Oh. You catch your hostess's gaze, suddenly abashed. You are so hungry you fail to account for her judgment. Now that you have some food in your belly, though, and you must have been suitably warmed, your old self-consciousness is returning. Did you not make a fool out of yourself? You demur shyly, looking at your lap, fearful all the while of what your hostess might think of you. You do not want her to take against you. Fortunately for you, however, and for your fragile ego, your hostess is not the judgmental sort. She is not like the girls you grew up with. She's not like other girls.
You're not like other girls. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. It's nice to see my food being appreciated so heartily. I know I'm not the best, but I've been practicing for a long while. I used to cook for my father all the time, you see.
This remark catches your attention. Quizzically, you look at your hostess, your abashment over your animalistic eating habit suspended. See, this is immersion. Immersion. What happened to her father? She ate him. It seems a grim thing to contemplate after having eaten, but didn't your hostess mention something about a plague? Oh, God.
Yes.
Your hostess says, her voice is soft now and serious.
That's right. There was a plague.
And what of the villagers? What of her father?
They're all gone now.
Damn, that's crazy. Gone?
Yes. You see.
Oh, God. Your hostess rearranges herself upon the chair, one slender leg folded over the other. Then she begins her tale in earnest.
Oh, I'm gonna read a lot, aren't I?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go, Noi. Noi in a voice actor era.
My family has a history. We lived here for centuries by the church, so as we can tend to the graveyard.
Ah, so this abode is centuries old then, and business is booming.
Business is a booming.
It would certainly explain the dirt.
The family of grave diggers. My father used to prepare bodies for burial. Back when he was alive, he built the coffins, he dug the graves, and he lowered the coffins into the dirt.
Oh God, I think I know where this is going. This was one of the warnings. Go ahead, keep going.
I know it might sound like an awful job, but somebody's got to do it. There's no sense averting your eyes from death, not when it happens to the best of us.
Oh God, it is a noble.
It's a noble profession, one that's been handed down in our family for generations. My father's father was a gravedigger, and so was my father's father's father, and my father's 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 father. So many fathers. Digging graves is in our blood. It's who we are.
My. That was a surprisingly pretty speech coming from a girl who lives in the countryside. A girl who is without much in the way of education. Call her stupid. It is apparent.
Stupid?
It is apparent just to listen to her and the way she slurs her syllables together that she has never had any elocution lessons. Not like you. There is determination, however, to her, and a pride in her genealogy, which gives her a respectable aura. You cannot help but be impressed. Why are we trying to be impressed? Whatever.
Why are we so rude and so high and mighty and classed?
What the fuck? So you ask your hostess, does that make her one in the long line of grave diggers?
Yes.
Your hostess, the grave digger, says.
That's about right. No, I was never supposed to be a gravedigger myself. It's not a woman's profession. That's what everybody says. My father didn't mind that, though. He taught me everything he knew, and then some. I might be a woman, but I've plenty of upper body strength. I can dig a grave just as well as my father could, without breaking a sweat. She can overpower us.
Hot. Sorry.
It's to the despair of my mother up in heaven, I'm sure. I'm sure if she were still alive, she'd rather I focus on more feminine pursuits, like basket weaving or sewing. It's to better attract a suitor. Not that I would do much good now. There's nobody around who'd court me, not for miles and miles.
And what happened to your mom?
She died when I was very young, during childbirth. I was only 5 years old. Wait, what?
Oh, well...
She died during childbirth? So that means she has a sibling.
Oh. Maybe. Wild. You can relate to her at least upon... You know what? I low-key can. Your parents are not dead, at least. Not as far as you're aware. But you have not seen them in an awfully long time. They sent you away as soon as you were old enough, and they never once bothered to check up on you. Are we Ash Ketchum? Oh God, they ate the baby. For many years, there have been no letters nor any visits.
For sure.
You offered the gravedigger your condolences. You do not know if they will help, but you feel like you cannot say nothing. That would seem heartless. The gravedigger, however, does not seem too upset by this turn of events, because she smiles, albeit somberly.
Oh, it's alright. It was ages ago. I don't remember her too well, and I've never really had the luxury of sitting around feeling sorry for myself. I had too much work to do.
Around the house, you ask?
That too. I was the oldest child, so was my job. It was my job after my mother died, and to manage the sweeping and the cooking. Oh, and looking after all my siblings too.
Halt, but her mom died in childbirth.
Yeah.
I guess the other one, yeah. You blink, intrigued, then glance about your hostess's humble lodgings. You do not see any siblings in the immediate vicinity. Where could they be? They got eaten.
We either got eaten or plagued. Both.
Or both. The gravedigger must have noticed your roving eyes. You're not exactly being subtle. I wouldn't either, because she shakes her head.
I had siblings. 2 younger brothers. They're both gone now.
Oh, I should have known. You You apologize to the gravedigger for your lack of tact, but she does not seem upset by this faux pas.
Don't apologize. It's not your fault. My brothers weren't long for this world anyway. The youngest, he died when he was still a babe. The oldest, he died before he could reach double digits.
Oh, how does it feel to be the alpha?
The alpha?
How does it... Sorry,
I was
continue.
upset about it at the time.
Sorry.
Of course. But I've come to terms with it. Life's a fleeting thing in this wicked old world. That's something you learn in this trade, digging graves, I mean. I've dug graves for the elderly and the infirm, but I've also dug graves for young babes while they were still in their swaddling clothes. That's the nature of death. It comes for all of us in the end. No matter how old we are, no matter how much money we have, no matter how good or bad we've been. It's the great equalizer. Or so I've heard.
A chill creeps down your spine as you listen to your hostess's speech. She's not wrong, but the inherent morality of all humankind is not something you wish to contemplate. It is too disturbing.
For the longest of times, my family was a small one. It was just my father and me, but that was fine. That's how I liked it. I was very happy, even if our lives weren't the best. I've never had any fancy clothes to wear, and we can't dine on the finest foods. In the grand scheme of things, we ain't anything that special, and I've always felt otherwise. I thought I was blessed. We knew hardships, of course, and famine, but that's just the way life is around here. When food supplies were low, we've always helped one another out. I had my father, but I also had the rest of the village. We all looked after one another. Things always worked out in the end. At least they did. Until the plague happened.
The plague, La Plaga. Yes, she had mentioned La Plaga. You had been wondering when she was going to return to that topic, that old chestnut. You suppose La Plaga is the reason that the village, as you traversed it, was so very empty. Plaga.
You'd suppose, right. The plague tore through the village. I don't remember when. It feels like it was a while ago, but maybe it wasn't all that long after all. It feels like I've been on my own for centuries, but...
Your hostess's eyes begin to cloud over. Oh god. She looks as though she is enriched with her own memories. What could she be remembering? You've never seen a plague before, though you've heard of them in your history lessons. Your history professor is quite enthusiastic about the subject. She talked about piles of dead bodies stacked up on the street and stacked up in the wooden carts to come take them away, with no shortage of aplomb. She was a strange woman, your history professor.
The plague came on very suddenly. There was no warning, and one day everyone was fine, and then the next, they were all dead.
It is with no small amount of anxiety that you eye the gravedigger. Then you ask wordly, surely they could not all have died.
Oh, if only. I wish I was exaggerating, but the truth is, honest to God, the people in the village died. One after the other. Just like that.
This sounds like a cover story. This sounds like a cover-up.
She's the only one left. There has to be way more to this.
Mm-hmm.
I saw what the plague does to the people firsthand. My father was one of the first people who caught it. I think one of the bodies, which came through, that we buried, must have had it.
They all must have had it, because if you were burying them, right?
If he was preparing them for burial and then also lowering the bodies into the graves, he had first contact.
Yeah.
And then he should have given it to you because he came home.
Yeah. All of them.
Unless it's not like airborne or transferable. It had to be transferable some way.
Yeah. All right.
Not that I know for certain. I'm just still guessing. Guessing still. My father didn't have an easy time of it. His skin turned all gray and clammy, and he complained of a horrible fever. There were night sweats and stomach cramps. And then there were the boils.
Boils?
Pustules. They were the size of eggs and they were
Ew.
full of pus.
Ew.
When they burst, it stunk. The whole house is full of it and the stink of death.
Ew.
Yeah, like, were you not
How are
affected?
you fine? Sorry. Not to interrupt.
How are you not affected?
How are you not? This is fishy.
This is very
The
fishy.
ace attorney in me is... Sorry, continue, sorry.
Oh, the wise woman of the village came to see if she could be of any use, but it was no good. My father was too far gone already. She took one look at him, lying on his deathbed. She shook her head. And she didn't want to get any closer. I can't say I blame her. That was a ghastly sight. I didn't appreciate it at the time, though. It felt like she was turning her back on us. I wished her ill. I remember that. I'll remember that after she left, until a few days passed and she fell sick too. How are you okay?
How are you not sick? Again, this feels like a cover-up.
Then I felt bad for cursing her. I couldn't help but worry if it was all my fault. Silly, I know, but...
The gravedigger closes her eyes. She seems to squeeze her lids together until her lashes melt like flecks in fallen snow. God, I sound like
Is this
Edward
some
Cullen.
sort of, like, plague immunity? Is she Ellie from The Last of Us?
Oh my god. Her shoulders, which are very slender, are shaking. She looks as though she might, at any moment, fall apart.
It wasn't long after that the rest of the village fell ill. They all had the same symptoms as my father, clammy skin, and the fever, and the boils. And the boils grew, then they burst, and then they died in screaming agony.
Ew.
Stinking agony.
Ew.
My father died too, only 3 days after he fell ill. But I think even that was 3 days too many. I didn't want my father to die. Of course, I did everything I could to help him, but it was all pointless. None of my herbal salves had any impact.
I'm saying, she ate them. I'm so serious. There's no way.
There was no play. Homegirl just went insane and ate them all. Honestly, how has she survived this long?
Yeah, again, the ace attorney in me is like ding ding ding.
Red
Okay,
flags
right.
everywhere.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Something's not adding up. I couldn't make a blind bit of difference. All I did was stand about his bedside, telling him it'd be all right, until his eyes sank into his skull like 2 black stones and his mouth dried out. Ew.
Damn, that's icky.
Seems like he died of dehydration as well.
Well, I mean, it would come with it.
Yeah.
100%, yeah.
During that last day before he died, he might have been a corpse already. He didn't look at me, he didn't speak to me. He just lay in bed with his eyes closed, groaning. I'd never wish any ill on my father before during those moments, and
The gravedigger squeezes her hands, which are resting upon her black-clad lap, into fists. She trembles. Then, in a voice throbbing with awful emotion, she says,
I wish he had just died.
well, based on her anecdote, it does not sound like she had overly long to wait.
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with MC? Oh my god. Well, dang, that sounds like... I wonder if she would consider that a silver lining. Yeah, perhaps not. The gravedigger is still shaking. She will not cry, will she? I hope not. I'm not good with crying either. Awkwardly, you look at the gravedigger. You're not sure how to soothe her, but you know you must make some sort of an effort, even if it's a token one. You shift in your chair, which feels very cold and hard beneath your thighs. Then you say very softly that you're sorry. It's not much, but it is all you can think of saying. You had thought initially that your situation was comparable to that of the gravedigger, but now you can see that this is not the case. Her suffering has far outstripped your own. We don't know that. Not that the suffering is a competition, of course. Your apology falls inadequate onto your ears, largely because it is, but the gravedigger seems not to mind it. She is very big-hearted, that girl, to smile at you so no matter how foolish you might be. Do you really deserve such kindness? No.
No. Oh, again with the apologies. It's all right, like I said. You didn't cause any of this. I'm not upset at you. I'm just
Oh,
recounting what happened is all. I do wonder why, though. Why I never felt sick myself.
Ah!
I thought I was going to die. Immediately knocked the accent out of her.
Hello? Ma'am, what happened?
I was already prepared for the Reaper to come and take me away. But maybe he wasn't interested.
Is it because you're a lesbian?
It's because you're gay. This affects straight people.
No. Sorry.
Maybe he'd already satiated his appetite on all the others. That, or maybe he thought he'd have to leave me alive for practicality's sake. With my father gone, no one else would tend to the dead. Who else would tend to the dead? I was the only person left by the end of it all, so as I had to bury the people in the village. They're all rested peacefully now, under the earth where the plague can't reach them. On the other hand, I'm happy for them. They were able to escape from all their suffering. When I think about all the people I've lost...
The gravedigger tenses. Then, she sniffs.
When I think about the kindly washerwoman who helped me scrub the mud from the dirt in my clothes...
Aha! So this village did have its fair share of washerwomen after all. It would seem your earlier insistence upon this particular point is not without merit. God, she's just like me for real.
It's the ADHD, I swear to God. And the handsome young farmhands who used to flirt with me.
Ew.
The priest who preached at the priest who preached at the church, who told us wonderful tales of paradise, and the children who would skip stones on the lake and play hopscotch on the streets. I can't help but feel so lonely.
The gravedigger's eyes begin to shine once she has finished her address with tears, but she does not let them fall. She's being very brave, much more so than you are. I was being chased through the woods! Anxiously, you extend a hand towards her, meaning to, what, give her a hug? You do not know her well enough. Pat her head? That would be infantilizing. Squeeze her hand? Thank you. Perhaps that could be misconstrued as a romantic overture, and that is the last thing you want. You endure more than your fair share of teasing over that. You sit there for a few moments, paralyzed by indecision, as the gravedigger poorly suppressed her sniffles. In the end, you let your arm drop back down to your side. Your hand rests upon your lap, as useful as a damp kindling. You do not know what to do with it. You do know that you ought to say something, though, to show that you heard her plight and that you care. You do not know what this something should be, however. No words could ever console the gravedigger. They would never be enough. They can offer some balm, however, to the bereaved, and so, after a pause just long enough to be awkward, you offer your condolences. What else can you say?
Oh no.
The gravedigger replies, wiping a few stray tears away with the back of her arm.
It's all right. I've grown used to it, really. Being on my own. I mean, it ain't bad, really. And I'm not alone now, at least. I met you. You'll keep me company, won't you?
Absolutely not. Well, what can I say to that? You weren't callous enough to trample this poor girl's hopes, are you? You know full well yourself how awful that feels. You can do nothing but nod, a response which makes the girl smile more widely still.
That's wonderful. I know you're just a traveler who's passing through, but I can offer you bread and board until you leave. I have food enough and a spare bedroom. I can make it up to you for you right now. Oh, she's gonna keep you here.
Oh God.
You must be tired after your long journey. Just give me a moment.
Bye.
She's gonna keep you here.
Oh, I'm gonna get eaten. The gravedigger, the gravedigger rises to her feet in a flurry of excitement, then retreats. You watch as she departs, a little too eager to please, and frown. The girl's home is small, humble one, with a low ceiling and slanted walls. You cannot imagine such a small dwelling possessing a spare bedroom. This so-called spare bedroom is, in all likelihood, the room her father slept in before the I don't want to go in the plague bed.
Don't go in the plague bed. You're gonna get the plague.
I'm gonna get the plague. La plaga. You do not think that would be much. You do not think that you would much like to spend the night in the room of a dead man. But what choice do you have? You are tired, wretchedly so. Why, it's all you can do to keep your eyes open. I will sleep on the floor. I am so serious. I have done it before. I will do it again. While you were running through the forest, desperate to escape your pursuer, you had no thought in mind beyond finding somewhere safe to sanctuary in, which you could recuperate. Now that you've found said sanctuary, it would be unreasonable to find faults with it. You ought to learn to be more thankful for what you have. There are many, many people in the world with less. You rise and follow the gravedigger. Once she has followed her preparations to her so-called spare bedroom, which is every bit as cramped as you feared it would be. At least there's a bed, which comes as something of a relief. The rest of these lodgings are so humble you were half expecting a straw pallet. As tired as you might be, you cannot lie to yourself. You have no desire to sleep among the hay like an animal. It's not that bad. Stop. The sheets of the bed are clean too, a fact you discern with a cursory glance. So you will not be expected to sleep upon the sweat-soaked linen of a plague-ridden man after all, thank God.
Thank fucking God.
This really is your lucky day. Hi.
I got you this too.
The gravedigger says, somewhat shyly as she hands you a folded gown.
To sleep in. I thought it might come in handy. Your clothes are, a little shabby.
I mean, our clothes are ripped up from running in the woods, so I mean, you can say that again. Your skirt is covered in mud and the hem is torn and ragged.
Why doesn't she just also leave the village?
Home. Same like in the Lost Ark, you know, or the Long Dark with the old lady. Anyway, sorry.
This nightgown is one of my old ones, so it's suffered a bit of wear and tear, but I hope it'll fit all right. It's clean, if nothing else.
You accept the nightgown from your benefactor. Stop it. From your benefactors with words of thanks. You want to sound appropriately appreciative. Stop that.
Turn off the auto.
I'm trying. Okay. You can. Stop that. Okay.
Just
Okay.
press,
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to sound appropriately appreciative, but you cannot mask your fatigue. Weariness overcomes you and you yawn. A fact the gravedigger does not fail to notice.
Oh, I'm begging your pardon. I don't want to keep you. I'll be making myself scarce. If you need anything, though, don't hesitate to ask. I'd be happy to help.
Gotta get eaten.
I'm gonna get eaten. I already got fed grave people food.
Oh, no. The gravedigger bows her head like to you like a drudge, then hurries off, closing the door behind her with a thud. Now, my thing is, she was burying something when we got here. If everyone's gone,
She's burying something. She's probably just burying bones because she already ate all the fucking meat.
Oof. Yeah, true. Tired as you are, though, you soon find that you rather miss your hostess's company. No, I don't. In the face of her good-natured smiles, you could almost forget all of her hardships that you have hitherto endured. In her absence, however, your lodgings feel almost unbearably cold and inhospitable. You suppress a shiver, then unclothe yourself. You work as quickly as you are able, but your fingers are cold and they fumble with the buttons of your blouse. It takes you more time than you would like to complete this endeavor, but you soon have your shirt and skirt dispensed with. You are too tired to fold them neatly, so you do not bother to fold them at all. Instead, you cast them carelessly upon the floor, as defiant as a sulky child, then pull on your new nightgown. Your hostess's early warnings were apt enough. It is quite worn, but it fits well enough. It is more comfortable at least than your old uniform. You have endured worse. Newly dressed and ready for bed, you loosen your hair from your braids and settle down amongst the sheets. It is with a sigh you extinguish the weakly flickering candlelight which burns on your bedside, and with another sigh you lay your head down upon your pillow. Though physically exhausted, you have to wonder whether you'll be able to sleep at all.
You're gonna pass the fuck out, and you're gonna wake up with no legs.
Oh, right. You can recall your previous dash to the forest in which such vivid detail your heart is pounding. The fear has yet to leave you. He needs some melatonin. Perhaps it will never leave you. Your terror was such it almost feels as though it had sufficed itself into your bones, into your very being. But your exhaustion is greater than your worldly anxieties, and soon it claims you. Your eyelids fall shut, and your breathing inevitably begins to even out. It's not long until you're spilling through a dark, deep abyss, lost in Morpheus's kingdom. But your sleep, despite your wearied state, is not as restorative as you'd hope. Your imagination has always been overactive. Even at the conservatoire, you are frequently beset by dreams of the most vivid nature. The dreams that you have this night, lying beneath the unfamiliar sheets upon an unfamiliar bed, are no less intense than usual. In your dreams, you are back at the conservatoire, the place where this adventure of yours began. You are wearing the crisp white blouse of the one you once discarded, and your gray, unremarkable skirt. Your hair is tied in braids, and your eyes are downturned, forever focused upon your feet. You try not to look at your classmates, and you thought yourself fortunate if they did not look upon you in return. You did not want anybody to notice you, mode. Until that awful winter, that is, where everyone stopped paying attention to you for good. Nobody tried to trip you when you walked past them in the hallway. Exposition dump, I guess. Nobody, in fact, so much as glanced at you. All of a sudden, there were no malicious whispers, no wicked laughter, no pulled hair, no thrown objects. You were giddy with relief at first over this newfound means of tormenting that you and your classmates had devised. But this little game, that of complete and utter disregard, continued and on and on and on, as the days grew shorter and the nights grew longer. I know where this is going. As the time passed, you began to fret as the state of your own corporeality. Could anybody still see you? Did you even exist at all? Then at long last you found it, quite by accident, the source of all your woes. One of the girls had erected in the forest through which you were sometimes bidden to jog for PE class, beneath the shade cast by an old oak tree. It was a makeshift tombstone, a small, meager monument made of stone, upon which one of your classmates had hewn a name. Hun? Your name. Oh, great. You
What's
knew
my
at
name?
once. The Noi.
True.
You knew at once, as you stood there standing beneath the shade of an ancient tree, that this was the reason behind your classmates' silence. This is why they had for many months been ignoring you so assiduously. They buried you. In their hearts, you had already died. Oh, your eerie dreams notwithstanding, you sleep more comfortably than you anticipated on my outside. But when you awake the following morning, the sweet chirping of birdsong, you feel wet-rested, a bit woozy. Your head is aching. I got drugged. It is nothing, however, that a cup of tea cannot fix.
When you wake up, you fall, and your legs are gone.
You stumble into the kitchen in your nightclothes,
Oh,
your
your legs
hair
are still
loose
there.
and your feet bare, and the gravedigger turns to you. She looks at your face, which is pasty, and your under eyes, which are dark, and exclaims in the manner of one accustomed to solving problems, not complaining about them.
Oh, you look awful. I think you need something warm to drink. And maybe you need something to eat too? Let me get started on breakfast.
And that's exactly what she does. She gets started on breakfast, which proves to be quite the simple affair, nothing like the luxurious food you were accustomed to in your past life. The bread is hard enough to break your teeth on, and the cheese is a bit too strong. It is all food the same, though, and you do not complain. Your stomach was beginning to grumble. The tea is inoffensive, at least, and you drink it gratefully. And you thank the gravedigger girl for her hospitality, and she smiles at you in return. Ah la la la, a sunny smile like a field of blooming bellflowers.
It's no problem. Don't hesitate to ask me for anything else.
She says, words which come and symbolize your relationship. What is your name?
What is my name?
No, what is her name?
Why
You stay with the...
ask her name this whole time.
Yeah, I would have asked for her name by now. You stay with the gravedigger for many, many more days, and limited through her means might be, she always tries to help you. The gravedigger sets your choice about the house to keep you occupied, a fact for which you are grateful. You need to do something to keep your mind off your frantic flight through the forest. You could almost forget about it now during the day. During at night, however, it returns to you, the sound of your feet against the foliage in the swirling fog. When you sleep, you're assailed by nightmares. Sometimes you awake after midnight, the sheets twisted around your body and your mouth gaping open in paroxysm. Thank you, of terror. Big word. That's a big word for Elmo. Though you try to tell yourself otherwise, you're still afraid. Being with the gravedigger makes you feel less so, though. particularly when you are sweeping the floor or keeping a keen eye on them, bread loaves so they do not burn. You attend to most of the domestic chores while the gravedigger concerns herself with the work, right? She knows best, that is, digging graves. Her dogged persistence when it comes to this pursuit intrigues you, so much so that you cannot help but posit a question to her on one particular morning, when the sky is festooned with clouds. You ask her, perhaps a touch insensitively, why do you continue to dig graves? There's nobody left, after all, to dig for them. You have always been practical, and you cannot see the point in it.
What is the point in it?
The gravedigger ponders while holding her precious shovel to her chest. Fortunately, she does not seem upset by your question, despite the bluntness. You should count yourself lucky her temperament is not so placid.
I don't suppose there is any point to it, really.
The gravedigger eventually says with a small smile.
I know it doesn't have any practical purpose, but, well, digging graves is what my father did. He showed me how to do it so I could continue his legacy. What legacy in digging graves? He's dead. There's no one else to bury.
I don't know.
My father wanted to keep our family tradition going. And I suppose I want to do the same. That's all there is to it, really.
That's all, is it? You think you can understand that? Though your companion's actions might appear to be illogical, there is a kernel of reason nestled amongst them. She does not dig graves out of any sense of purpose. She does it instead out of sentiment.
That I do have something to keep myself busy, don't I? If I spent all my days idling, all on my own, I think I'd go mad.
The gravedigger laughs at this, as though the prospect of her own madness is amusing. Her laugh, despite her slender stature, is not particularly delicate, and reminds you, perhaps unkindly, of the braying of a horse. Why are we so mean? We're so mean. Oh my god. You're ashamed of thinking such a thing, though, and your face flushes with the guilt of it. Yeah, you should. We cannot all be well-bred young ladies, you know. Still, the laughter of the gravedigger as it echoes through the gray, gloomy sky is strangely desperate. It sounds forced. Her smile, too, it's a touch unnatural. The rictus grin of a corpse. You find, despite your attempts to return her laughter with a polite giggle, that you can't help but pity her. Oh my god, it's all gonna go downhill. The retreat indoors briefly after your talk with the gravedigger, then set about some simple choice. The gravedigger trusts you well enough to manage sweeping the floor, a task which does not particularly take long, and then preparing the meal, a task which takes slightly longer. It is not until much later, however, once the sun has already sunk beneath the horizon and the moon is high in the sky, that the gravedigger returns from the outdoors. She is windswept after hours spent exposed to the elements, and there's dirt caked beneath her finger. Ow! The gravedigger, wash your hands.
This is giving me Clark and Lipsa all over again.
Stop! The gravedigger removes her cloak, which she hangs by the door, then looks at the pot suspended over the fire, a fire which you stoked with your own fair hands. The scent of cooking food, that of garlic and onions, fills the air, sufficing the interior of the kitchen in a homey aroma which makes your stomach rumble. Taking stock of this, the gravedigger smiles at you, a toothy smile which, despite her status as a lowly peasant, is surprisingly clean and bright and white.
Clark Gryffindor. Oh, this is given the 100 all over again.
Oh no.
Clark Griffin. Thank you so much, dear one. There's nothing like returning home after a hard day's work and to find dinner already prepared. Now let me give it a test.
The gravedigger dips a spoon into the soup, then brings it to her lips. She blows upon it.
We live in domestic.
Then she places, yeah, I guess. Cottagecore as fuck. Let's go. Yo. Then she places the spoon into her mouth.
Digger girlfriend.
The wooden utensil clacking against her teeth. You observe this with a touch of anxiety. Was she like the food which you prepared for her?
Also,
you've cooked for her before. Oh.
Wasn't she also being chased by something, and then suddenly now you're living in a village with nobody in it with a grave digging plague girl?
Yeah, it's better than being chased. You have cooked for her before in the past, and she always was very complimentary of your efforts. Cooking is not your forte, however, Mode. You have never concerned yourself with it, really, growing up in relative comfort as you did. You think that you enjoy this rural, rustic mode of existence more than you did any of your privileges in your past life. At least now, with the gravedigger, you have a steadfast friend, a staunch ally. When you're with her, you're not alone, and that is worth its weight in gold. The gravedigger explains after drawing her spoon from her lips, her smile a bright one. Thank you.
It's delicious.
Thank you, I can't read. Your face flushes with this compliment. You are unaccustomed to receiving them, and it makes you feel good. Shyly, you ask the gravedigger if she truly means that, a query which makes the gravedigger smile.
Of course I mean it. You become quite good at cooking, really.
That is a relief. You are not very good at all this cooking malarkey in the beginning. You do not know how to handle a knife, nor peel a vegetable, and you cut yourself more than once. You bled into the soup on several occasions, but never once did you throw this solid soup out.
You fed her your own blood?
God. The gravedigger.
That's disgusting!
I guess poor people, I don't know. Poor? The gravedigger lives a humble existence and she cannot afford to waste her precious ingredients.
That's what I'm learning here.
Gross. Your soups during your stay have all been seasoned with the slightest hint of iron. Today's soup, however, is a marked step above all the rest. You did not cut yourself with a knife even once.
Child.
Maybe your companion's compliments are not empty fluff. Maybe you really are improving.
This soup should... This shit soup should be ready to serve. I have some bread, too, that we can eat it with. But, I should brew some tea. Let me.
Ah, yes, the tea. You knew that you were forgetting something. You were so focused on the soup it must have slipped your mind. Your face flushes yet again at this oversight, and shyly, you offer to correct it. The gravedigger, however, waves your request aside.
No, it's all right. You made the dinner, so I'll brew the tea. It's only fair, and it won't take all that long. Would you mind serving the soup while I'm busy?
Of course you would not mind. You enjoy making yourself useful.
The water for the soup.
What? For a lady, you are awfully domestic. You work alongside the gravedigger to finish your nightly meal, and together you serve it, soup and bread, alongside 2 cups of piping hot tea prepared by your hostess's own hands. You sit together at the table, then partake in the simple fare after saying grace. The soup really is quite good despite it being made of only the most commonplace ingredients. There's a bit of a kick to it, and it warms you from the inside out. The tea, meanwhile, is very soothing, so much so it makes you feel rather sleepy. You would like to sit with the gravedigger for a little while longer and tell stories, as you have sometimes in the past, or play cards. The nights are long, and there's no better way to pass them than spending time with her. Games of old maid, alas, will have to wait. You're too tired. You do not know what has happened, but after consuming your vitals, you feel utterly... You're drugged! Drugged! You explain your predicament to the gravedigger between your yawns, and she nods in response.
Oh, that's all right. You don't need to stay up with me. Not if you ain't up to it. You should be off to bed and rest that pretty head of yours. Oh, God.
You do not think that you're particularly pretty, but you presume that the gravedigger is just regurgitating a phrase to you. She does not truly mean it. How could she? She is way prettier than you are. You thank the gravedigger for her understanding, then rise from the table. You retreat to the spare bedroom on trembling legs, then change out of your clothes.
She drugged you. She drugged your tea!
You've only just slid into your nightgown when you hear the rapping of knuckles upon your door. Light and unobtrusive. The rapping could, of course, belong to but one person. It is the gravedigger, come to check up on you.
I'm sorry.
The gravedigger says, her voice soft.
But you rushed to your room soon after eating. I couldn't help but worry about you. Would you mind if I took a look at you? I just want to see if you're all right.
The gravedigger is trying to keep her voice steady, but you can hear the wavering regardless. Does she think we got... No, I think you be. She really does sound concerned, so much so she could very well be on the brink of tears. You do not want her to cry for you. You would feel horribly guilty if you upset her, even though you say she laughs like a horse. Even inadvertently, given all that she's done for you. You bid the gravedigger entry into your room. Therefore, without further delay, an invitation she hastens to take.
I'm excited to get into your bedroom.
Oh my god. The door swings inward with a creak, and there your hostess stands, still attired in her black. Her clothes a stark contrast to your pure white, well, off-white nightgown. The gravedigger looks at you, seated in bed with your hair freed from your unusual braids, and exhales. It's a relief, you wonder. It's that relief you wonder playing about her face. But why? Was she expecting to see what was she expecting to see before entering your bedchamber?
Thank you for letting me in.
The gravedigger says, toying with her fingers.
How do you feel?
Not too terrible, you assure her. There's no particular problems with your health. You just feel tired.
Are you sure you're not sick? Your face does look a bit pale.
That would be nothing out of the norm. You're always pale.
True. True.
Go ahead.
Now, is there anything I could do for you? Would you like something warm to drink, or maybe a hot brick in place of your bed?
Yeah, well, back in the old days, they'd put like hot pans or warm coals in bed to keep you warm.
Oh, to keep you warm.
Yeah.
It should keep you warm.
You appreciate your hostess's thoughtfulness, but you reassure her that won't be necessary. I'm fine.
I hope so. I thought about my father too before he...
The gravedigger begins, but her voice turns off. If you gave me La Plaga... She does not...
She drugged you and gave you La Plaga.
I knew it! She does not finish that thought. She does not need to. You know now what she's thinking of before she entered your bedroom. Cold, clammy skin, a sweating brow, rank, oozing... You think upon these symptoms, which are eerily similar to those recounted during the Great Plague, which once beset your own country, and you shudder.
If you don't want anything then, I'll be on my way.
The gravedigger says.
But before that...
Before that?
This was just a fancy on my part, but I was wondering. Would you mind if I brushed your hair for a while? What? What?
Your hair?
That's all. That's right. It's such a pretty shade of red. Is all. I thought she's gonna steal your fucking hair. She's gonna steal your hair.
Dios mío. Sorry.
Dios mío.
It's fancy, really.
It's just it's pretty shade of red is all, and it's just a fancy, really. You don't have to let me. Not if you don't want to. But I thought it might help you relax if you're feeling under the weather. I've heard it's supposed to be soothing.
That is what the gravedigger says, but you have this distinct feelings that she is not the one looking for solace here.
Like the dolphin man, Charlie's Angels. Stop!
Stop! She is not quite so selfless, perhaps, as she would like you to think.
Her out and keep it.
Oh, God. But she has been so very good to you and done so very, very much for you that you do not want to begrudge her this small self-indulgence. You think she deserves it, but boundaries. You agree, therefore, to her request, and upon doing so, you are certain you have made the right choice.
Is given that, though.
Your hostess's face lights up immediately in a manner which makes you blush. Sorry.
Oh, thank you. It'd be my honor. Now let me fetch my brush.
Bye. The gravedigger retreats from your room in a hurry, but returns soon thereafter, holding in her right hand the promised brush. The artifact acquired, the gravedigger then settles herself upon your bed by your side. She looks at your hair for a few moments, her expression pensive. Then she announces she will begin. The gravedigger leans in. The wooden frame of the bed creaks under her weight, a creak which melts in the sighing of the breeze outdoors. You can feel the bristle of a brush running through your hair. It is soothing enough, so much so, it makes you shiver. Mood. The sensation is a pleasant one, and somewhat nostalgic. Did your mother do this for you, you wonder, when you were a little girl? If she did, it must have been when you were very little. You have not seen your mother in quite some time, not after you enrolled in the conservatoire.
Oh, you have such lovely hair, dear one. It's soft, just like silk. Not at all like mine. Mine is so coarse.
The gentle voice draws you out of your vague, half-formed reminiscences. It sounds as though the gravedigger has lost a nostalgia of her own, because her voice, when she speaks, is dreamy.
I think my mother used to brush my hair like this for me, back when she were still alive. But that must have been a long time ago, though.
It's funny, you
It,
think, as the bristles of the brush continue to slide through your tresses, that you and the gravedigger should both be reminiscent and tandem about your respective mothers. Perhaps there is something maternal in the act of brushing one's hair, which is wont to summoning forth such images. I wouldn't know personally. Mood! I cannot remember my own mother. Sorry.
I don't think I liked having my hair brushed very much.
The gravedigger continues, her breath warming against the exposed nape of your neck. We're getting close. The yuri has begun.
The yuri has begun. My mother used to complain that I squirmed too much. I can remember that. She always told me to sit still. Though it wasn't my fault I squirmed. She used too much force.
Now this is curious. It sounds as though the reminiscences of the gravedigger are not particularly fond at all. Did she not get along with her mother?
I can't rightly say.
The gravedigger replies in a somber sort of voice.
I was young, like I said, when she died. I really don't remember her too well at all. But I don't think she ever had that much time for me. She was too busy with all the cooking and the cleaning. Oh, and looking after my baby brothers. Baby brothers?
But she had time enough despite that to brush your hair? Well, she's the oldest of two, remember? One died
No,
before, when
she
he
said
was...
she had an older brother.
She said she was the
And a
oldest.
younger brother. She's a middle child.
She said she was the oldest. The math ain't mathin'.
Okay, maybe you're right. Yeah, I think that sounds makes more sense.
Math ain't mathin'.
She did what she felt she had to make me look presentable. She did what she felt, and not that it really worked.
It wasn't. Oh, sorry. Go.
I wasn't like the other girls in the village.
She's not like other girls.
She's not like other girls who like to sit indoors with their mothers and sew. I always loved the outdoors. My father said I inherited that from him.
Ruefully, the gravedigger smiled. Not that you can see it with your back facing her.
Classic tomboy. My mother said I wasn't very, well, maidenly. She didn't like that, and I always traipsed around outside after my father, watching as he dug graves. She said it wasn't appropriate. Like I was some sort of princess wearing a fine dress.
The gravedigger snorts.
It used to be a bit muddy, yes, and maybe I did get burrs in my clothes and knots in my hair, but it shouldn't have mattered. It's not like I had any hopes of marrying a prince, no matter what my mother said. But still, she hoped. She had a lot of hopes, my mother. High hopes. I think she might have resented my father, maybe, for working such a menial job. Our profession is an honest one, but it's never made much money.
I think it would.
I think my mother was hoping for fine jewels and dresses, and I think, and I don't know, she always had ideas. Her head was full of fairy tales. I think your mom was insane.
What?
It was a shame.
Was
I
she
suppose.
Pearl? Was her mom Pearl?
I suppose that her reality didn't match up to what she wanted. I didn't match up to what she wanted.
The bitterness
She's
in
got
your
mommy issues.
Oh, absolutely. The bitterness in your friend's voice is unmistakable, so much so that you want to console her. What would you say to her, though? You've never met your companion's mother, and you never will either. Her cold, inert body has been laying in the graveyard, buried beneath the tombstone for over a decade. You have no way of ascertaining whether your companion's mother truly cared for her. You do have intelligence enough, however, to understand that poorly thought-out condolences can cause more harm than good. Would you not like if people tried to reassure you that of course your father loved you, really? If he loved you, then why did he send you away from home? Why did he never send you any letters? You know he was worried about his finances, but that seems a poor excuse to pretend that his only daughter didn't exist. As for your own mother, meanwhile, she was nice, at least you think she was, but she was woefully ineffectual. Though she was nominally an adult, and she always cleaved before your father's judgment. You think that she was afraid of him. You do not try and tell the gravedigger, therefore, that her mother loved her, that she must have done, else she would not have given birth to her. Instead, you sit there, letting the brush run through your hair, and you say quietly you understand. Sometimes you feel like a disappointment yourself.
Wow.
The gravedigger says after a pause.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I guess it happens to all of us.
I guess so. Parents are only people, after all. While no one would hope to while one would hope one's parents would be kind and attentive, they too can fall victim to the caprices of their own. Just because one has brought a child into this world, it does not mean one will be able to take care of it properly. True that. Not all parents are responsible.
That's true.
Just as not all people are responsible. It's a painful subject.
Oh well. It's alright if my mother never liked me. Or even if she never loved me. I know my father did. And that's all that matters. He was always there for me, no matter what.
Your companion's voice catches in her throat. She winces.
At least until he wasn't. He died. And I didn't do a thing to help him.
Girl, your companion's shoulders begin to shake. You're making yourself sad. Stop this.
Guilt.
You still cannot see her, but you can feel her body convulsing. You can sense her loneliness rolling off of her in waves. It is all-consuming like the waters of a deep, dark... Oh, just hug her! Grief anew pierces your heart, not on your behalf, but for the sake of your own benefactress. She does not deserve to suffer so much. This you have no qualms with telling her. You turn to face her and pluck the brush which has been hovering in the air, inert from her fingers. Then you let her know that her father's death was not her fault. What could she have done? She could not have cured his illness.
I know, but I can't help but think, what if? I keep racking my head over and over trying to come up with something. But I can't think of anything. And even if I could, it's too late. He's already dead. He's dead and buried. I buried him, and now I'm all alone.
She might have been alone, you tell the gravedigger, but she isn't now. Not anymore. Aw. How can she be when you're here?
I know that. I know, and I'm grateful, but I don't know if I deserve it.
Why would she not deserve your company? You do not understand. Yeah, I'm real basic.
Because I couldn't do nothing for nobody. My father always looked out for me when I was a little girl, but when he needed me the most, I failed him. I failed everyone. All of the villagers, all of my friends, all died. What would I do? What would I do if the same thing happened to you? I don't think I could bear it.
You. Oh no, foreshadowing.
I don't want you getting sick too. Not when I care about you so much.
Hi, Rabbit.
I thought I'd gotten used to being on my own, but now that you're here, it's making me worry all over again. I've been worrying so much that I can't sleep from it. I'm scared.
Your companion's voice catches in her throat. Then she collapses in on herself. She leans forward, her arms wound about in her middle as if to steady herself, and she cries. She cries and cries and cries and cries. For a few moments, you look at the... For a few moments, you look at the gravedigger, unsure of what to do. Her pale face, streaked with silvery tears, seems to flicker in the candlelight. Her shoulders, which seem too slender to bear the accumulative weight of all the sorrows she has endured, are shaking. Your fatigue continues to cling to you, as insistent as the fog which rolls among the tombstones in the graveyard at night. You are not so very tired, however, you cannot afford your hostess some comfort. You do not know what you can say to console her. You feel too worried to think of pretty son. Just hug her! There is something you can think of. You would not typically be so bold, of course, but you are tired enough for once to throw caution to the wind. Teals. That and the tears of the gravedigger are awfully resting. Yeah, hug!
Finally.
Oh man, I should not have dyed my hair. Should have cut my hair red. Foolish. You open your arms, and before the gravedigger can pass comment, you pull her to your chest. Oh, sorry. A soft exclamation escapes the lips of the gravedigger, quieter than the sound of wintry snow as it brushes the ground. Then there's nothing. The gravedigger is stiff in your arms for a few minutes, like a corpse she and her father used to seal away in their wooden coffins. She's wide-eyed and awkward, pointed elbows, tears still coursing down her pale cheeks. You worry briefly as you hold her that you have, perhaps, made a mistake. Were your attempts at consoling her too clumsy?
Bite the chunk out of your neck.
No, stop! She's not a vampire! You would not know. You've never been in a situation like this before. Intimacy? You've never consoled any friends before because you've never had any friends to console. It is not so now, however. You are as far away from your old life as possible to be, and the gravedigger does not curse you for your impudence. Neither does she try and squirm away from you. Instead, she sits there, still as a statue, cradled in your arms. Give me your best crying voice.
I can't. I'm sniff.
Sniff.
I'm very sorry to show you something that's so embarrassing. It's just, I get so lonely sometimes. That's the title.
Oh no. Until at long last, with a breathy sob, she lets the full weight of her body fall against yours. You run your hands against the sobbing companion's shoulder blades in her back and gently you soothe her. You tell her that she does not need to apologize. There's no shame in crying. You hug her for many, many minutes while she sobs against your chest, wetting the front of your nightgown. No further words pass between you that night, but they do not need to. Words are irrelevant in a moment as tender as this, shared between two souls who have come to understand one another through mutual loneliness. You slide beneath the sheets, you still feel exhausted, and the gravedigger joins you without asking for permission. Oh! It would be unnecessary piece of politeness, really, given your acceptance is all but assured. You've already accepted the gravedigger, after all. Every single introvert, you say that now. You've accepted her hospitality. You've accepted her food. Now you're going to accept her company. You arrange yourself beneath the sheets. She draws her body to yours. The gravedigger has not yet changed into her nightwear. Her clothes will be horribly rumpled when she awakes come the following morning. Her head rests against your chest. But tomorrow has ceased to matter. It no longer exists. There is no concept of time between the two of you.
Die.
No, we're not gonna die. Between the two of you, no thought of the day which will dawn once this night inevitably ends. Instead, there's only warmth shared between you, and the wetness on the cheek of the gravedigger. There is a sound, irregular now, a less intense than before, of your companion's muted, muffled sobs. There is this gentle, tender moment snatched in the midst of the deep, dark night, which can never be replaced. Your eyes feel heavy as though weighed down by stones. They droop inexhibitedly downwards, pulling you like a drowning maiden into the dark, impenetrable abyss of slumber.
And you both get the plague.
No! You yawn. Then you fall asleep, cozied up beside the gravedigger like two cats in a basket. You sleep and you sleep and you sleep more deeply than you have allowed yourself in quite some time. Oh, God. No, I knew it! But when you awake, you find that you are no longer in the bed upon which you slept in, shrouded by sheets. The gravedigger, too, now is nowhere to be seen. Instead, you are quite alone, lying by yourself in the dark. You blink, but your surroundings...
imagine this whole thing?
Oh, God, I think I know what this is. It's the breathing noises in my ears. Oh, God. But your surroundings do not become any clearer. In my ears, yes. Is it the middle of the night? Perhaps you were roused from your slumber by the desire to relieve yourself, or else shake your thirst. Your sleep has been awfully disordered as of late, and the smallest of noises have been enough to disturb you. That does not sound quite right, though. You slept well, of that you are certain. Your body feels vigorated, as though it has slumbered for hours and hours. How many hours? You do not know. You don't know much of anything. You can feel a strange pinching sensation around your chest, however, and around your arms. It would appear as though somebody, but who else could have saved the gravedigger, changed your attire while you were sleeping? It is a startling thought, but the darkness which entombs you is even more so. The darkness which surrounds you is unsettlingly complete. It is so thick you cannot penetrate it. Your newfound woes do not stop, however, at this deep, unnatural darkness. It's cold, too, and you're laying upon something hard. Is this some sort of stone slab? What's going on? You reach out, but your movements are so stymied. There's something heavy laying on top of you, something that is limiting your movements. You were anxious before upon awakening, but at this discovery you feel downright aggrieved. A sharp prong of your panic pierces you, but you try to suppress it. Hysterics will get you nowhere. In most cases, they only tend to make bad situations even worse. worse. You ought to know that already. You swallow your mounting dread. Oh, absolutely. I knew this was gonna happen. I knew it. You swallowed your mounting dread as best you can, though it is coming on thick and fast, and you try to squirm. You move your arms outward, but they do not get very far. There's a wall above you, and walls on either side of you, walls which do not budge no matter how hard you push. Not, I must add, that you can push particularly hard, your anxious state notwithstanding. You have never had much in the way of upper body strength, nor lower body strength. You do not have much in the way of strength at all. You feel quite helpless as you lay there, out of breath from your meager exertions, unsure of what you should do. You can hardly see a foot in front of your face. You do not know where you are, nor why, but a terrible premonition is beginning to bear down on you, one which initially you tried to discard. You did not want to accept it as a possibility, but where else could the truth lie? You are laying in a box, hemmed in by walls which offer only scant few inches for you to stretch in any direction. Where else could you be lying but a coffin? I knew it! I knew it! I knew it! I felt it in my bones! The moment you allow yourself to ponder this awful reality is the moment you hear it, the irregular sound of drumming. It's as though somebody, though they must be a very large somebody, is tapping their fingertips upon the lid of your coffin, or that it is raining. Oh, Gilly, we're being buried alive. It's not
we woke
that...
up and we're being buried alive.
We're being buried alive. We had a tender night, and now we're being buried. It is not the fingers of giantess unknown, which is disturbing you, nor is it falling rain. It's dirt. The sound continues on and on, as though it is drilling away the side of your skull. It's relentless. It's merciless. Like the ticking of a great celestial clock, it cannot be stopped. Your time is almost running out. But you knew that already, didn't you, when you were running through the forest? You ought to have known, silly thing, that you could not outpace your destiny forever. Sooner or later it would catch up with you. You are stubborn, though, and you do not want to accept this. Not content to simply lie there, you cry out. You cry out for your parents, whom you hardly know. You cry not for your parents whom you hardly know, nor for your school friends that you never really had any. Instead, you cry out for your new companion, the girl with whom you've been living, with whom you shared one precious, cherished moment. You cry for the gravedigger. Surely this is some manner of mistake. Once she realizes that you are in fact entombed in one of the coffins she's currently filling, for who else would be moving the dirt above you, she will cease her operations at once. She will pull you out of the darkness, back into the world of the living, and then she will hold you close. Bro, no she won't. She will embrace you. No she won't. She cannot mean to cause you any harm, not when she was so good to you and so kind. Why would she bury you? You cry to her so loudly you fear that your vocal cords might tear, all the while banging against the roof of your compact prison. You cry desperately, helplessly, and to your relief, your cries do not fall upon deaf ears. The sound of falling soil stops, albeit briefly. Then you hear a voice. The voice is very faint, given it's being filtered through a coffin's sturdy lid, but you recognize it. Oh, God.
So you're awake then, are you, dear one?
Oh, God. The gravedigger says. She sighs. Then she says in a perplexed sort of voice,
Now, that is a pickle. I was hoping you'd be asleep a couple more hours. So the last time we spoke would have been on better terms. If you keep screaming like that, I'm gonna feel bad.
Bruh! Your companion's words, though distant, are unmistakable. You are so tense, you are attuned to every single syllable, and each of them makes you gasp. Was this not a mistake, then? Did she truly mean to bury you alive? You posit this question to the gravedigger as best you can, trying to keep the tremors from your voice as you do. Perhaps you think in your optimism that if you do not let her know how afraid you are, she will reward you for your bravery and let you go. If this is what you were hoping, though, it's in vain.
That's right. You really do catch on quick.
God damn it. So it would appear that she really has committed to the task of burying you. What an unfortunate turn of events. Why, though? Would she do such a thing? You thought that she was your friend.
We are friends.
Oh God, the gravedigger says, her voice still worryingly offhand, worryingly empty.
I'm very fond of you. There's no one dearer to me than you.
God damn it.
I've had a really good time with you these last... How long has it been again? I don't remember.
Bitch. Neither do you. Well, if this little detail has slipped both of your minds, it can't be all that important. You have other things to worry about. If you really are friends, you say to the gravedigger, then what does she hope to gain by burying you? You don't understand. But you'll understand her reply even less.
Well, here's the thing.
The gravedigger says in a reasonable sort of voice, as though burying somebody alive could ever be a thought as a reasonable action.
I've been digging graves for a long time, see?
You cannot see, it's too dark, but you affirm that you do all the same.
Well, when I was digging all these graves... But I've had not anybody to put them in. Not for ages. It was rather sad.
That sounds like a you problem. Bury a cat, a dead animal, I don't know. You think you know where this train of logic...
She's sociopathic.
She's a sociopath, god dang it. You think you know where this train of logic, twisted though it is, might be going, so you do not interrupt her. You know no good would come of it. All you can do for the present is lay there and listen.
I was thinking I'd never find another person to bury this godforsaken village. Not after the plague messed everything up. I was getting desperate.
Oh,
You came along, that is.
Oh, God.
Now that I have somebody I can bury, I'm not gonna let that opportunity pass me by. I'm sorry, but this is just a part of my job. It's what my father taught me to do. It's all I know how to do.
Girl, get a hobby.
I buried my mother and I buried my father. I buried all of my friends.
Alive?
Now, I'm going to bury you too.
Great. It is sound logic, in a sense, as the daughter of a gravedigger. Digging graves is her job, but something about it rankles you. If only you could put your finger on it. Ah, yes. There is a bit of flaw with her reasoning, is there not? You're not dead.
You might not be dead now.
The gravedigger says in a response to your ingenuity.
But you will be given enough time.
Oh, that could be days.
I mean, everybody else I've ever known's died. Who's to say you wouldn't be next?
God damn it. It seems rather more likely that you will die, and quickly, if she persists with her poorly thought out plan to bury you. Your coffin's not very large, and affords you precious little space. Eventually, if trapped within it long enough, you will run out of oxygen and you will suffocate. That, or you'll starve to death. Either way, your demise will be a slow, painful one. You're unsure which death will be worse, though, given how precarious your situation is. You do not wish to expend the necessary energy needed to ponder it. You needed to plead with the gravedigger, and quickly, while she's still here. You tell her tearfully that you would not leave her. Why would you? You try to sound as convincing as your disordered nerves will allow, but the gravedigger remains unmoved.
You say that?
She says.
But you know... how could I know that you're telling the truth? I thought you said you were a traveler. You'd never stay put in one place for long. You'd get sick of me before long, then you'd leave me. This way,
Oh my god.
at least I can be assured that we'll always stay together.
And there's the yandere. There it is.
If I bury you like I did the others, we'll never be far apart. I even took care of you and put you in a nice spot, close to my house. So you're only a stone's throw away, really. Isn't that nice?
Oh my god, girl. Privately, you think that the gravedigger has a different conception of the word nice to you. You do not say this, however. You cannot say much of anything because the panic has begun to set in. It's choking you, stopping up your throat so you can only cry. You scream, you beg, and you plead, but it does little good. The gravedigger has already buried her mother. She's already buried her little brothers. She even buried her father, whom she loved above all else. She thinks by burying you, she's doing unto you an act of great kindness. And you think she's going to kill you. In a sense, you're both right. Your opinions are so diametrically opposed on this matter, however, that you will not be able to find any common ground. You might as well save your screaming. She will not listen to you. She is beyond listening.
Shush, shush, dear one.
Says the gravedigger very gently, just as she spoke last night, when she confided in you all of her fears. Oh, sorry, I thought I clicked it. My bad.
It won't be so sad, really. Nothing will be able to hurt you down there.
Except Okay.
It's just going to be. It's just like going. It'll be just like going to sleep for a really, really long time.
Great.
You can rest, and while you rest, I'll tend to you. I'll plant flowers on your grave. You'd like that, wouldn't you?
God damn it. Oh my
This
god.
way we can always be together. And I'll never be lonely again.
Girl! While the gravedigger speaks, she begins to pile on more soil to the roof of your coffin. The sound of dirt on top of you, you're on your arms, your legs, and your head conceals your companion's final words. You cannot hear her. You cannot hear anything beyond the sounds of dirt and the scrapings of a shovel and your own desperate, frantic screams. You scream, and you scream, and you scream without cease until your throat feels hoarse, but your efforts are in vain. You hammer on the lid of the coffin with as much strength as you can muster, but the lid of the coffin is nailed shut. You're in no position to remove it. All you can do is lay there, screaming and crying and banging your fists on the roof of the coffin, over and over as more dirt and debris falls on top of you. Eventually, enough dirt falls on you that stifles your screams for good. The gravedigger can no longer hear you, and you can no longer hear her. You're all alone, trapped in a narrow wooden box which, regardless of what you want, is now your new home. You can smell the soil in the backs of your nostril when you inhale. It's so potent you can taste it on your tongue. You can taste the eventual, inevitable decay of your own body. You will remain trapped here underground forever and ever. Or, to use less melodramatic terms, until the last of your energy escapes you and you succumb to your own slow suffocation. It isn't a very pleasant way to go, but you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know. God, bitch! You reap what you sow. Bitch? Hello? You reap what you sow, and in your case, you made a series of bad decisions which I didn't get to make any choices, which led you to your untimely demise. Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept this fate of yours and rest in peace, or will you try and fight against it? Well, I don't want to die!
Do you want to die, or do you want to fight against your fate?
What do you think, chat? Should we accept our fate, or fight against our fate?
I feel like either way you're gonna die, but...
Yeah, I feel like either way, but I feel like we can, kill Bill our way out of here. I believe in us.
Gilly says fight.
Fight! You're not happy with this hand of fate has dealt you. Very well. I can't blame you. It is quite grim.
Down and die.
Don't lay down and die. It's a quite grim ending. I would not wish it upon my worst enemy, and you are rather dearer to me than that. What the fuck? Now, why don't you give this another go? Just try not to be buried alive this time. I can only endure so much of your screaming.
Oh, it's gonna send you back to the thing.
How far back? Your fate once again is in your hand. Now I wonder. Oh, I'm going to the castle. Fuck that. Fuck that.
Oh, I guess we'll meet a new girl.
Yeah. Should we go to the castle or the shore? I'm voting castle.
Well, I picked last time, so...
Chat, what do you think?
It led to this.
Chat, what do you think? Shore or castle? Castle! Let's go!
So you want to go to the castle.
Good idea. All decent fairy tales tend to conclude in castles once their put upon heroines are finally able to wed the handsome princes they once dreamed of. Why bother trying your luck with the shore, which may very well be deserted, or the village, which may be full of dirty, barefoot peasants? It is a...
Oh my god.
I love...
Well, no, it's not. It's filled with one grave-digging hoe that buried you alive.
Yeah, fuck that bitch. It is far better to skip the suffering and go straight to the grand finale. It is very astute of you. I did not realize you had it in you to be so mercenary. I can only wonder what you will uncover during your moonlight meanderings. The night is far from over, and your adventures are only just beginning. I hope only that you have brushed up on your courtesies. Cat, what are you doing?
Courtesies.
What? Cat was being weird, sorry. They might come in handy when one is interacting with a sovereign. Royals can be temperamental after all. You fail to treat them with the prerequisite amount of respect, and you might come to regret it. The cat's being cute, sorry. You follow the path which leads to the castle, supporting yourself on weary, aching legs which feel ready, at any moment's notice, to detach from your hips. You are little more than a wisp of a girl, but you've been running for so very long, and your feet are so numb you feel like a great lumbering thing, clumsy and ungainly. The soles of your feet are screaming at you. You need to lay down, and quickly. Your only hope as you continue to run is that you will find a spare room available for you in the castle. You do not know what exactly will await you at the castle, but you have visions as you run of a vast, opulent dwelling. This dwelling will surely be full of finely furnished rooms in which you might rest your weary head. There must also be a king and a queen inside the castle, you ponder, who will be kind and wise, and what of their children? What of a princess? Nice. Every good castle must possess a princess who will take pity on you and your plight. You can imagine the face of this generous princess with ease, thanks to the fairy tales you read in abundance as a small child. The princess will be fair and fair of hair and blue of eye, with soft. Is it Princess Peach? Sounds like Princess.
so.
Sounds like Princess Peach. Sorry. Her limbs will be slender, her hands dainty and unsullied from physical labor, and her sensibility will be sweeter than marzipan. This is Princess Peach. She will be kind to you and her compassion, just like an older sister. You do not know what older sisters are like, though, or younger sisters for that matter. You're only guessing. You are not a complete fool, however, despite your tendency to daydream, and you do have few reservations. Monarchs do not, as you know from your voracious rating, have best track record when it comes to caring for peasantry. You are not a very famous queen who once said with a cavalier wave of her hand that a hungry peasant in her kingdom should content themselves with cake. Ah, Marie Antoinette. You think that this might be a misquote, but the point still stands. Though royals are supposed to grant their subjects with succor in their time of need, this does not always happen. In fact, it rarely happens. Kings and queens and princesses and princes are just people. At the end of the day, they are subject to the same caprices that all humans are. You can also be careless and selfish and inconsiderate. There is no guarantee that this mythical princess of your imagination will help you. Why, there's no guarantee that this mythical princess exists at all.
Imagine the whole princess.
That's a
and
gay.
It may or may not be the princess that you might be meeting.
Gay, homosexual, gay.
It's gay, homosexual, gay.
Still, you must try. Is it this hope which keeps you going? You continue to run to the castle. It takes some time before you finally emerge from the woods, but finally, you do it. How much time, you ask? I cannot answer that. Did I not say time had begun to lose all its meaning? The forest is behind you now, at least, and all the awful nightmares which dwell within it. It is cold. It is still cold, though, and foggy, and very, very dark. The sun has yet to rise. You can see the moon more clearly now, though, as it hangs above your head, round as any pearl or crystal ball. Same as before. All right, down upon the castle, which looms in front of you like a cliffside. The stone edifice of the building is imposing, and it drowns you in shadows darker than the depths of the ocean. The castle is not all dark, though, not like the night sky above it. When you crane your head, you can see that there's lights flickering within, and the narrow slitted windows. It would appear that somebody is home. The king and queen, perhaps? Maybe what of their servants? What, perhaps more pressingly, of their guards? You half expect as you stand there that an armored knight will accost you for daring to approach the castle of the king and queen so-and-so. Do you not know your place, foolish peasant girl with the dirty skirt? Begone with you! I love her storytelling in her head. You are not, of course, a peasant. Your family is a wealthy one, or rather, they were before your father made a series of poor financial decisions. You do not look like a young lady right now, though, with your dirty face and dirty skirt which is torn at the hem. If any guards were to take you for a vagrant, it would not be unsurprising. But, though you stand there dithering your filthy fingers hooked in front of your filthy skirt, you do not hear any cries. Nobody sounds the alarm. I need water. Oh my god. Sorry. Lights may be on...
Her dad got into ye old crypto.
Ye old crypto? He got into NFTs. Oh god. Lights may be on in the inside, but nobody outside of the perimeter is standing sentry. There is nobody to impede your entry, and elaborate iron gates which are set into the vast stone walls about the castle's exteriors are open. Just a crack. That's not safe. It would be a trivial matter to slip inside. There is nobody to stop you. Why are you trembling now, you silly thing? You've come so far. It would be an act of foolishness to turn around now. Go on, go! You inhaled, perhaps in an attempt to screw up your courage, which has at long last begun to fail you. And then you step forward. You slide between the wrought iron gates, as stealthy and secretive as a thief. Then you cross a path which leads you to the tall, imposing structure. The domed doorway which leads into the castle itself, hewn from stone, is closed, but at a push of your palm, it swings inwards. The door creaks alarmingly as it opens, the sound loud enough to split the silence like a thunderclap. You inhale at this and glance around, your eyes darting hither and thither. If there are any guards posted about the castle grounds, they should have all been alerted by that sound. Will they come for you at long last? What will happen should they catch you? Will they throw you in the dungeons? That does not sound like a pleasant way to spend the night. Better than being buried alive. At least you would have a roof over your head, though, and you would not have to keep walking. Your feet really do ache. You stand there for an indeterminable amount of time, your heart pounding a panicked irregular rhythm at the base of your throat. But no matter how much time elapses, no guards come. You are thankful for your good luck, though. It does make you wonder, where is everybody? Why, it's almost as if all the people in the world have disappeared. Could you be the very last human left alive? You frown, and you press your palm back against the door. You push this cautiously this time, heedless of the loud sound which splits the silence. There is no point in worrying about the guards, not when they might be very well non-existent. Your entry to the castle secured, then you take a step forward. The door swings shut behind you, and the result slammed makes you jump. You did not expect it. Your heart knocks against your ribs, and with wide eyes you glance about. You are standing in a vast entrance hall made of stone which splits off into a number of passages. At the very end of the hall, meanwhile, there is a large, elaborate staircase, one which seems to extend to the heavens themselves. It is dark inside the hall, but there are numerous torches set in sconces in the stone wall, which are aflame. They offer some relief in the shadows. You can hear the faint sound of the wind outdoors as it moans against the castle's impervious walls, but you cannot hear any footsteps. You can't hear any voices. You cannot, more importantly, hear any people. Maybe the castle's empty. If that's the case, though, then who lit those torches? It is a curious conundrum. You muster up what remains of your courage and then cry out, addressing the empty hall in a timorous voice which fails to properly fill up the space. Hello? You say, your eyes wide. Is it anybody there? Hello?
Is anybody there?
Hello? Your voice echoes through the vast empty halls, but it is met yet again with silence. You cannot say that you are too surprised, but it is somewhat disappointing. Not one to be deterred, you try again, and again, your voice growing louder with each subsequent attempt. No matter how loud your voice, however, it fails to reach any ears. If anybody is here, they do not seem particularly sociable. That, or perhaps they simply cannot hear you. Could they be in another room? Ah, that must be it. You will never find that...
I must scream.
You will never find that pretty fairy tale princess of your imagination if you stand idle, you know. So true, bestie. It is time to get to work. Put those legs of yours to good use. So true, bestie. Not knowing what else to do, is there anything else you can do? You begin to explore. You examine the rooms first on the ground floor of the castle, which are similar scale to the impressive entrance hall, large and richly furnished, but utterly unoccupied. After some time of aimless meandering, encountering nobody save the ghosts of aeons past memorialized in portraits upon the walls, you muster the courage to ascend to the second floor. This floor, too, you examine, wandering through the seemingly endless series of hallways until, at long last, you find a door which is ajar. From between the crack in the door and the jamb, you see flickering light. Irregular, yes, but it is light nonetheless. Could it be from the fireplace? That would suggest, then, that this room is occupied, unlike all the others. Perhaps the kindly princess you dreamed of will be awaiting you in this room. It is with a trembling hand that you press your palm against the door. You push it. Then you step inside the bedchamber which unveils itself to you. Shyly, you stand in the threshold of the chamber, much of your courage is extinguished, and gasp. The bedroom itself is gorgeous. It is a chamber so luxuriant not even the shadows can obscure the fine craft of the furniture within it, nor the rich patterns on the walls. It is the girl inhabiting the chamber, however, who truly takes your breath away. Yes, a woman! Let's go! Oh. Huh. Not what I expected, but I'm not complaining.
Is that Bowsette?
You know, I'm gonna rock with it. Sitting upon the velveteen sheets of the towering four posters is a girl in a sumptuous red gown who seems to be of a like age to you. You do not have a clear view of the girl's face. Her head is bowed, her gaze directed downwards towards her lap. You can tell from her hair, however, and from her slender calves, which protrude from beneath the hem of her dress, that she is very pretty. No, kitty, no. The girl's hair is golden, just like freshly cut wheat, but it is the red of her dress which truly captures your attention. She is so striking you cannot look away from her. What the fuck? Yeah. What the fuck? Jump scare. The girl is not alone in her chamber either. She has a companion, though this companion is not half so endearing as she. And her lap perched on her velvet skirt is a doll.
That's creepy.
I've read worse. The doll's hair, like that of the mistress's, is golden, though much of it is hidden beneath the bonnet. The girl is adjusting the china teacup held in the doll's tiny hand.
Goddamn white baby is that.
Goddamn white babies. Stop. Stop. While the rim of the cup glints in the light which exudes from the fireplace. If this girl is of similar age to you, it seems strange that she would content herself by playing with dolls. Is she not too old for it? Would this girl be more at home, you decide, at a ball, wearing an extravagant gown, speaking with wealthy noblemen, perhaps even princes? Ew. She should not be sitting in what she presumes is her bedchamber, adjusting a teacup in a doll's hand. But you are not afforded much more time to stand there marveling at the girl because she turns. She raises her head. Then her eyes meet yours. You thought the girl pretty when you first observed her sitting on the edge of her plush velveteen bed examining her doll. Now she's looking at you, however.
She's gonna make you a doll.
I don't know. The only warnings that I read were buried alive and cannibalism. And I feel like
she'll eat you.
I feel like the cannibalism is gonna be at the shore. So I don't know. I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Yeah,
however, oh god. Her face illuminated by the flames in their grate, you can see that you were mistaken. She's not just pretty, she's beautiful. So much so that it's breathtaking. She looks as though she stepped out of the pages of a picture book. She's simply too perfect to belong in this world. Perhaps she has some kind of vision, a waking dream, a hallucination, but no, she's none of these things. The doll in her lap is a cold, hard thing made of porcelain, and it is unflinchingly, reassuringly real. If she were a mirage, surely she would not be able to handle physical objects such as this. It is strange, though. The doll, though immaculately made, looks oddly imperfect when compared to the girl who's holding it. She is so startlingly beautiful, she even puts a man-made representation of feminine charms to shame. It is a sight of her that makes you feel rather weak, Mood. You always have had a fondness for fair maidens. You are rather hopeless when it comes to them, even worse than the knight errant from the courtly legend. Your aesthetic appreciation is not particularly ladylike, but, well, it's not every day a girl encounters an elegant beauty like this, attired in red, illuminated by a fireplace. It's time to turn on the Riz. I suppose I can forgive you for this rudeness, as too can the girl. She does not seem to be the type to hold a grudge. What voice do you want?
Oh, what voice do we want her to have?
I can try. I don't know if it'd be wise to try and do a voice if you want to do narrator instead.
I don't know. Chat, what kind of voice should she have?
What do you think? What do you think, y'all? How should the princess sound?
I did Southern for the gravedigger.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
I can't do a Joe Summer voice.
If I didn't, bonjour.
I'm gonna lose that French accent so quickly.
Do you want to just do the narrator?
Ada voice.
Ada. Do ada. No, come on, you got more than that. Ada.
Oh god.
Coward. Oh.
Ada.
Oh, better. I'll take it.
I can't.
Why not, coward?
Do the voice. Do the voice.
Do the roller.
Do the roar.
Do the roller. Do you want me to take the princess then? You want to be the
roar.
Do the roar. Do you want me to take the princess?
Okay, as long as you can click.
I'm clicking. Okay. Oh god. Okay, I got this. Oh. You're
okay.
Yeah.
And the girl says, in a voice that, surprisingly enough, far less refined than her appearance.
Bad. Oh my god. How bad can I make this? When you say not refined, how do you mean? Not refined. You mean like
surprising far less refined than her appearance.
It is good to see you. I have been waiting.
Is she? That is news to you. You blink, perplexed. A response on the tip of your tongue, but are unable to expel it into the ether. The girl is setting her doll aside. Then she stands, the hem of her dress swishing about her legs. Nimbly, like a ballerina,
Spinning like a ballerina.
she canvases the space between you. Her room is so very large, there is quite a lot of space. Then takes your hands into hers.
Oh,
in her
forward.
own.
I like her. You must.
The girl says, her eyes aglow with excitement.
Be my new lady's maid. It's been a while, but it is such a relief that you finally arrived. I knew you would.
You're a fucking maid.
You would never leave me alone. Not when you knew how long I was waiting. Oh, I'm so happy.
The girl's good mood is contagious. So much so you find yourself being swept away in it. You are tempted to accept any identity she might press upon you. You have never been a maid before, but you might not mind being this girl's maid. She does not seem like a poor mistress to serve, not if she's always this kind. You cannot mask the confusion, however, which flickers across your face. You are not a good enough actress, and in any case, this is all happening too quickly. Why, you barely know this girl. Why is she being so familiar? It is with a blank, bovine eyes that you might examine the girl. Your befuddlement is pronounced enough that even the girl, despite her good mood, notices it. She frowns. Then she says, with her fingers sliding away from your own,
Or am I mistaken? Are you not my new lady's maid after all?
The disappointment in the girl's face is abundant, so much so your heart clenches. You do not know her, she is still a stranger, but you are struck, all of a sudden, with the intense desire to appease her.
Same.
You do not want to let her down. The thought is devastating. You were not aware, you tell her, that you had applied to be her maid, but if that's what if that is what she wills, you would not be opposed to it. You pray that she forgives you, though, for your discombobulation. You come from a distant country and you traveled for many miles. You know not where you are, and you do not know who she is.
What? You don't know who I am?
It is regrettable, you tell her, but no, you do not know her, though that is not no fault of her own. Why, you've spent such a long time running, you hardly even know yourself.
Ah, so you're a fugitive then from another country. I see.
Valley girl, give me the Valley girl.
I won't pry into your past then if you'd rather forget about it. I don't mind sharing my past with you, though. Everybody in this country knows who I am, after all. Or at least they should. Go ahead, sorry.
Now, this is quite the impressive boast. If it were to come from the lips of another, you would find it unpleasantly arrogant. You do not think, however, that this girl is trying to show off. You get this feeling instead that she is merely telling the truth.
If you don't have the pleasure of knowing me, that's okay. Then allow me to do the honors. My father and my mother were the king and queen of this realm, and I'm its princess. Duh. I've lived in this castle all my life, so I don't know much about the outside world, but I do know that other countries do exist out there. And I presume it's from one of these foreign countries that you have come from. It's very good to meet you. I've always wanted to talk to someone from overseas. It feels like quite the opportunity. I'm sorry.
I'm losing my fucking mind. The girl giggles at this, and you smile in response. No, keep going. You tell her unthinkingly that it is your pleasure, really, to meet her, or at least you mean to.
This storyline was written for me.
You only get halfway through this remark when the full gravity of what the girl has told you sinks in. You come to a stop. Then you stare. Did she just say she was a princess?
Yeah, that's right. I'm a princess, and one day I'll be queen after I've done a little bit of growing up. My ministers don't think I'm ready to run the country just yet, but I've been doing my best at my lessons. One day, I'm sure I'll be the best queen there ever was.
Oh, I'm fucking crying. So, she really is a princess. That makes sense, you suppose, given she lives in a castle, but it comes as a surprise regardless. You hadn't known before you entered this chamber that you were trespassing on a lady of such great renown. Why, if she willed it, she could have you executed for carelessness. An ugly red flesh creeps on your face, flesh which is far more lurid than the princess's dress as you look at your feet. Bashfully, you stammer out a new address that you are very sorry for intruding upon her, and you hope that she can forgive you.
Oh, it's all right. Think nothing of it. I don't mind, really. We all make mistakes, and anyway, sorry, you were to know. You said you weren't from around here.
You nod your head in silent affirmation. It isn't a complete lie. You really are not from this country. You're not from this world at all.
How wonderful. Oh man, are we isekai? Ooh, that's a stunning turn of events. How wonderful. I look forward into picking your brain later. All of my servants come from nearby villages. Their tales are all the same, and they're so superstitious. I could do with a breath of fresh air. My last lady's maid told me I was too impetuous, but I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting a bit of adventure. Not that I've ever afforded much of that. I've been shut up in here for so long, I hardly ever get the chance to talk to other girls my age. Sorry. Sorry.
Oh, warlock whose dad is your patron. Oh,
Bryn! Oh my god. My last lady's maid was older than me. And so was the one before her, and the one before her.
Some of the princess's fair mood seems to dissipate as she speaks, her expression turning, by degrees, into something rather more pensive.
But I haven't seen any of my old ladies' maids in a while, or any of my other servants for that matter. They've all disappeared. How inconvenient.
Now, that is quite curious. How could a whole household full of servants simply disappear?
Oh, it's the cannibalism, isn't it?
It's the cannibalism. I bet it's the cannibalism.
Well, it looks like her outfit is covered in teeth.
That's true. She's been eating them.
I don't know. This castle was full of servants once, my ladies' maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and a large retinue of retainers. They're all gone now, though. I think my ministers must have sent them away. I don't know why they would have done that, though. They didn't explain it to me. But then again, they never explained anything to me. They still treat me like a little girl. It's so tiring.
She said that her ministers sent her servants away? What of her parents, the king and the queen? Would they not be the ultimate authorities in the castle's hierarchy?
They would, yes, if they were still alive, but they're not. They died a long time ago. I was raised for most of my life by my servants.
Oh, you answer, and then you flush. You hadn't known.
It's all right. You don't need to apologize. I'm just happy to have you now. I was getting sick and tired of only having my dolls to speak to. They are not the best conversational partners.
You can imagine so, yeah. You doubt any doll, even one made by a talented artisan, with an intelligence face indistinguishable from a human's, would be very... Oh, what? Wait. A face indistinguishable from a human's as a doll?
Ugh.
Would be very good at answering back.
Oh, no, they aren't. They're helpless at it, really. They're so stony-lipped. You've no idea how much of a relief it is to see you. This castle is so big, and without my servants, it feels so very empty. It gets so lonely here.
That's the title. Now, that is an interesting turn of phrase. It catches inside your head like a burr. Have you heard it before? You turn back the clock.
Oh, no.
Gravedigger said that before, too.
Yeah. Okay,
You do not have much time to ponder this, however, because the princess is speaking anew. in that curiously conversational manner of hers, which does not seem particularly princessy. Maybe she learned how to speak from her servants. Her servants are Valley Girls?
Go ahead.
That would explain why her consonants are so unrefined.
Oh, but listen to me
Definitely Valley
yammering.
Girl.
But listen to me yammering on again. It's a bad habit. I really must put a stop to it. You're probably tired, dear one, from your travels. Would you like me to show you your room? Yes.
The princess announces before you can say anything in reply.
I think I'll do just that. I might show you a bit around the castle first, though. It's like a maze in here, and I wouldn't want you getting lost. You'll be staying here for quite some time, after all.
The princess then hastens you to take you on a tour of her home. Fortunately, she does not show all the rooms of her abode, and neither does she offer overly long descriptions as to what the few rooms she does show you are used for. She does, however, pauses by the kitchens, whereas she offers you some victuals. Once the growling in your belly has been satisfied, the princess then resumes her journey. She leads you down a dark, twisting hallway, and upon a series of equally dark, twisting steps until she arrives, at long last, before a door. The princess pushes this door aside summarily, thus permitting you entrance to a small, humble bed chamber. This chamber is not half so opulent. Why did our way of speaking also change? This chamber is not half so opulent as the grand bedroom in which the princess resides, with its resplendent four-poster and richly patterned wallpaper. This room's ceiling is not as high, and the singular bed shoved against the wall is thin and narrow. The walls are unassuming beige, and the floor beneath your soles are warped wood. There is a malodorous scent too, which hangs in the air, one of disuse and general decay. You get the feeling that nobody has slept in this room for quite some time. That might explain why it feels so cold in here. Though, if the princess's tour of her castle has taught you anything, it is that it is cold in every room in her abode.
Yeah, central heating doesn't exist, sorry. Now, here we are, the final stop of our tour. This will be your room, dear one. I hope it's to your liking.
Calling us dear one, too. The princess, despite her exalted status, looks somewhat uneasy as she observes you, her eyes upturned like those loyal dogs. Is she concerned about your reaction to this room? Perhaps she is afraid that you will turn your nose up at her kindness. For a princess, she is awfully eager to please. This unexpected contrast between the princess's lofty title and her ingratiating attitude makes you smile.
Mr. Mod, just so you know, like, when it comes to yandere in general, it's pretty common to be called darling, dear one, like, just terms of endearment in general. It's a possessive thing in a lot of yandere fanfics.
She's already got her claws on you.
Yeah. All right, go ahead, sorry.
The room is rather scanty, yes, when it comes to its contents, but it's more than passable.
Yes, absolutely. I am mansplaining yanderes to you. Continuing.
It has a roof and 4 walls, and though it is cold, you fancy it. You will feel warmer once you have slipped beneath the bed sheets. The room is not quite so fancy as your dormitory at the conservatoire, and neither is it so large, but it does have one glaring improvement over your previous lodgings. You will not be expected to share it with anybody else. There's only one bed in this room, and this bed is to belong to you.
For now.
You think that the peace and the quiet will do you a world of good. You tell the princess as much, and she smiles.
That's great. I was worried you wouldn't like it. I know it isn't much to look at, but it's one of the nicest servants' rooms we have in the castle. Most of the maids sleep beneath the roof in this teeny tiny room, which is all cramped. There's like 10 beds up there, and they're so close together, there's barely any room to pass between them. I thought it was perfectly ghastly when I saw it the last time I went up there. Not that I was supposed to be up there. It was a rainy day and I couldn't outside, so I was doing a bit of exploring. If the housekeeper had known I'd been skulking around, I don't think she would have been pleased. Well, in any case, nobody sleeps up there anymore. The scullery maids are all gone now. I couldn't put you up there, though, like in the attic with all those empty beds. I don't think it'd be very cheery. You're not just a scullery maid, you're my lady's maid. That means you deserve good lodgings. It'd be an insult to offer you any less than this. Now it's getting late. You'll have to forgive me for rabbiting on. I've heard it's something I tend to do. It's a bad habit, one that's unbecoming for a lady. The housekeeper warned me enough times.
You reassure the princess to the contrary, smiling as you do so. You do not mind if she talks too much. That is better than not talking at all. Her affable nature makes it easier to spend time with her. Manners be damned. You were always scolded too, back in the conservatoire for your behavior. You know full well how aggravating it could be to be braided, not for any particular misdemeanor, but for being yourself.
You know, if I had $1 for every time I voiced a royal character who is a little unhinged, I would have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot of nickels, but the fact that it happened twice. Well, I'm glad you understand.
Oh. The princess answers with a giggle.
I should really be off, though. It's bad manners to keep you, especially when you look so sleepy. Get some rest. We can talk more tomorrow. And if you don't mind my ceaseless prattle, I'm glad you seem to appreciate it at the least. Though I'm sure you'll get tired of it eventually. All my old maids did.
The princess departs, and in her absence, you take a seat upon the bed. Your new bed. You cannot help but think that this is all happening very quickly. It does not seem like very long ago that you were still in the forest, running for your life among the tall, imposing trees with their gnarled and grasping branches. The forest might as well be a distant memory now, though. You are indoors, inside a castle no less. You have been given a room in which to sleep and clothes that you might wear. It seems premature still to declare that you are out of the woods, in a metaphorical sense, I mean, but things could certainly be worse. Oh yeah, things could definitely be worse.
I feel like things are gonna get worse.
Things are gonna get worse. You force yourself to stand on legs which feel too weary to support you, and change into the night clothes hanging on the wardrobe. The night clothes do not fit you perfectly, but you are too tired to care about that. You're too tired to care about much of anything. You retreat to the bed and slide beneath its sheets. Then, you let your eyelids fall shut. You exhale.
Oh, silence. Okay, cool. It started back up on a piano.
Oh, God. Every time we go to bed now, it's gonna be an anxiety,
I
shift.
have trauma.
Big trauma.
I have trauma. Right,
And lulled by the breeze which blows outdoors, you fall asleep. You're so very tired. Your sleep is deep, dark one, darker, even in the furthest abysses of the nighttime. Like the nighttime, however, which shimmers with stars, your sleep is not devoid of these prismatic fragments you call human dreams.
She's so pretentious. I'm so sorry. She's so pretentious. Ah! She's
Though
giving
in this case, sorry. I'd rather think your nocturnal imaginings are worth rather more than that. Though they're not dreams, are they? To which your slumbering mind is subjected.
I think the person narrating is the person who is chasing us through the woods.
Maybe.
I think that's who it is.
That's probably it.
Yeah, because the way they talk.
Yeah, you're seeing you, not I.
Yeah.
And they did refer to themselves as I for that one part.
Yeah.
So this is an unreliable narrator.
This is someone else, yeah.
Though you know that they're not. Otherwise, your body would not be so very cold, not so clammy. The images that flicker beneath your closed eyelids, like the ghostly images in a what the hell?
Phenakistoscope.
Phenakistoscope were not conjured from within your mind.
When they wrote this, they had a dictionary.
They had a thesaurus ready and waiting. They were instead taken from your memories. You're not merely dreaming, you are remembering. You remember the girls who slept in your dormitory and how they always hastened to use the shower first, so you were last for breakfast. You remember how when you finally did arrive at the dining hall, the most desirable morsels had already been snaffled up by the girls who got there earlier. You struggled, too, to find a seat once you finally did get your hands on some food, because nobody ever wanted to sit with you. The other girls all acted like you were a leper, save for when they wanted favors. They never asked for these favors, mind. For why would they? To them, your father's prestige did not matter. They were all wealthy ladies too, many of them wealthier than you. When everybody has the airs and graces of a princess, how is anybody supposed to stand out? You stood out the least in your class, perhaps because you were one of the smallest, the frailest, the sickliest, who always came down with colds in the winter. Your poor health did not stop stop other girls from treating you as a servant, though. When they remembered that you existed, of course. It was your lot in life, as you dwelt with the stone walls of the conservatoire, to carry school bags across the field like a pack mule. Then, come the evenings, the girls in your dormitory had you sewing on missing buttons and ironing the creases out of the wrinkles of their uniforms. If there was an odd job that needed performing, you would always be asked. The girls did not ask. That would have been too civilized. They ordered you instead. And as they ordered you, they laughed at you. And they laughed and they laughed and they laughed. The laughter hurt. But it hurt considerably less than the kicks did. And the slaps and the pinches.
Is this a K-drama?
It sounds like it.
Sorry,
Once during embroidery lesson, one of your classmates had an accident on her sewing scissors. She stumbled, or at least she pretended to, and before he knew it, the silvery blades on the scissors were embedded in your left palm.
Oh my god.
This happened quite some time ago when you were even littler than you are now, and you can still remember it. It hurt a lot. The scissors were sharp, and they perforated your skin, not all the way down to the bone, but enough to bleed. Oof. And your wound bled bright red, like strawberry jam, all over your embroidery. Then when your professor saw it, she shrieked. Her face turned as pale as way, and she looked for a few moments as though she might faint, though you were the one who was in pain. Your professor, looked at your face, could not bear to look at your hand, then demanded to know why you could not be more careful. She blamed you?
Ren, it's part of the atmosphere.
It's part of the immersion.
Immersion.
There's a lot of exposition in this I'm seeing here.
I am getting
her tone has been an accusatory one, almost as if you stabbed yourself in the hand with your scissors to goad her. The pain in your hand hurt, but the giggles of your persecutors hurt all the more. They were never punished for that. Perhaps your professor did not care enough to punish them. Perhaps she, like everybody else, thought it was all your fault. The wound, when all was said and done, was too deep. You did not even need any stitches. It healed well enough in time on its own, though it still left a scar, a white raised thing like a crescent moon. You still have that scar. You do not know how much blood you lost.
You lived, bitch. I mean,
you lived. Just be like, I lived, bitch.
Sorry, continue.
It seemed like a lot back in the classroom. You could smell it in the air, sharp as iron, but it could not have been that much. Evidently, your wound had not come. If your wound had been more serious, perhaps your professor might have cared. Perhaps your classmates, too, would have felt some modicum of guilt over what they did. But this seems very unlikely. You know that your blood meant nothing to your classmates. Why should it? If you meant next to nothing, then blood in your veins was, if such a thing is possible, even more inconsequential.
And it's morning.
It's morning.
Rin, no, even in the last chapter, She did the same thing. She just kept
She
going.
just went on and on.
Oh god. Okay.
I mean, you're getting to learn more of your character's past.
Trauma.
Trauma. You feel disoriented when you wake, at long last with the rising of the sun. You do not remember what you dreamt, but you do not think that your dreams were of particularly pleasant nature.
Probably for the best.
If they were, your heart would not be hammering so. Ill at ease, you glance around. You are lying in a narrow bed in an unremarkable room, one with dull beige walls and a warped wooden floor. Where exactly are you? This does not look like your dormitory in the conservatoire, not unless it had shrunk threefold overnight. Your brow furrows as you attempt to recall all the events of the night prior, until, with a gasp, it clicks into place. You remember now. You were running through the woods trying to escape from... You shudder. You do not know... You do not want to think of what you were trying to escape from. You presume that it must have given your hunter the slip, though, because you're still in one piece, awake and alert enough to face the dawning of the new morning. You still have all your limbs, and your facial features appear to be in the correct configuration. That is more than enough to be getting along with. You look to the foot of your bed, then blink, bemused at your discovery. You can see lying upon the sheets a garment, 2 garments actually, of black and white, folded into a neat white square. What could that be? A maid's outfit? If so, it would not be too surprising. You can now recall your visit with the princess the night prior, and her assertions that you must be her lady's maid. Well, if that is the role that she wants you to assume, no qualms with it. It is far preferable to the other role that you played last night, that of a startled quarry running from its pursuer. You press your fingers against the humble maid's attire. It feels surprisingly soft to the touch, not coarse like you expected. These clothes are rather fine. Did the princess put them there? If so, that is all the more reason to wear them. You're gonna put on anything that your princess tells you to.
Absolutely.
You're not churlish enough to deny her hospitality. Rise from your new bed, then undress yourself, unbuttoning the front of your plain white nightgown and setting it aside. The task accomplished, then you clad yourself in your new attire, white, black, and eminently sensible. You feel very far away from the girl that you once were. Your face might be the same as always, but something within you might have changed. You are no longer a student, not as long as you meant to reside within the princess castle. You would far rather be a servant. Assured of your newfound identity, you retreat from your chamber, then make your way to the mistress's bedroom. The castle is a large one with many, many rooms and many, many hallways to connect them, and for a brief while you find yourself horrendously lost. You cannot remember where the princess's bedroom is. You are beginning to feel rather disoriented when, to your relief, your eyes snag upon a stairwell which looks rather familiar. Could it be this way? You ascend these steps, your footfalls cushioned by the plush carpet which lines them, then find your way down the very same hall that you traversed the night prior. If your memory does not fail you, the princess's bedroom ought to be... Yes, it's right here. You rap upon the door, but receive nothing in a few way of a response. Is the princess still in bed? Yeah, the way they completely changed the way they speak.
You know, immersion.
Immersion. You wonder briefly whether you oughtn't wait until she has risen of her own accord. But no. The sun is high in the sky, and it would seem a shame to let the princess sleep through the day. You ought instead to rouse her. That seems like the sort of duty a lady's maid should attend to. You enter the princess's bedroom and glance about. Her room looks as much the same as you remember it from the night prior, though the ceiling seems even higher when viewed in the wan morning's light. You can see that there are fewer shadows to impede your view. how very opulent your young mistress's abode is. Her armoire is large and imposing, as is the grate in which you will be expected to keep a fire lit during the nights. The princess herself, meanwhile, is curled on the side of beneath the sheets, looking rather less grandiose than her title would suggest. She is attired in her nightgown, adorned with frills, and her hair split across her pillow like spilled gold. In her slender arms, meanwhile, held to her chest, is a doll, the same one she was cosseting last night. You suppose this doll must be her favorite. Idly, you wonder what that doll's name is, though you do not suppose it matters all that much. Uses the word suppose a lot, I'm seeing here. It is time to wake your mistress. You call out to the princess, but she is largely unresponsive. Her eyelashes are still soon tightly shut, and her lips pursed in slumber. You purse your lips too and sigh. Well, nobody ever said your job would be easy. Once again, you call to the princess, and this time she replies. Her response is not a favorable one, however.
Bruh.
She sighs, then turns away from you, her doll clutched to her chest.
Just give me a little longer. It's 5 minutes.
The princesses sound so enfeebled, but you do not take pity on her. If you have learned anything from the conservatoire, save for knowledge pertaining to the respiratory tracts of fish, it is one that must be cruel, and it must be cruel to be kind. You do not think to adage was practiced with any great success in the conservatoire, but perhaps it will have more of an impact upon the princess. You tell her once again to wake up, more sternly this time. You will not let her sleep, and for she has long slept enough already. It is very slovenly, really, to still be in bed at such an hour. Not me is waking up at 3 p.m. today. Defeated, the princess sighs.
All right. I can see that I can't twist you around my little finger. I'm up. You don't need to nag me.
Once you have roused the princess from her bed and you have put her doll to one side, you set upon her toilette. You aid the princess in the brushing of her hair, a chore to which she submits willingly, like a cat might allow for its fur to be brushed.
Is this Ren? Like
you allow yourself to ponder as you run the bristle of the princess's brush through her hair. How wonderfully soft it feels against your skin. But a curious query from the princess.
Are you alright, dear one?
Brings you back to your senses.
Her angelic voice. Sorry. If I hadn't lost my voice, I could do something sweeter. I'm sorry.
You were rather lost in thought there. You look lively now. You wouldn't want the princess to catch you wind of your salacious thoughts, which salacious.
Whoa. Oh my.
I thought that you had learnt your lesson about that already. Suitably chastened, you finish with the princess's hair and set the brush aside. Now that the princess's tresses have been taken care of, you must start on her attire. The princess remains seated upon the edge of her bed, looking up at you askance. She does not ask you to avert your eyes, nor does she make any motion of divesting herself of her nightgown. It really does seem as though she expects you to undertake this task on your own. Is that all right? Yes, the princess as much. You would not wish to impinge upon her modesty, but she only laughs.
Yeah, it's all right. It's what you're supposed to do if you're to be my lady's maid. I'm used to being dressed and undressed. I'm not even a bit squeamish about it. Don't make it weird.
She might not be squeamish about it, but you are. You have never seen a naked woman before expecting yourself. Even then, however, you have always dressed and undressed furtively, not wanting to examine your body for longer than strictly necessary. That's me. You've never much liked the way you looked. You make a few more mumbled objections, but the princess sweeps them one side easily.
It's all right. I might be a princess, but we're both people underneath all of our clothes. I don't really look much different.
You're not sure about that. You have not yet seen the princess unadorned, but you already know to look at her face that you are different. She is much, much prettier than you are, but she is waiting, and you do not wish to keep her any longer. Steady your nerves. Oh god, now am I gonna describe how she's
Let's
taking
go.
things?
Let's go.
Then you reach out with trembling hands and you begin to undo the buttons which run down the front of the princess's nightgown. You work as quickly as you are able, which, given how badly your hands are shaking, is not very. You fumble with a couple of buttons, flinching as you do so. The princess, however, seems blissfully unaware of what it is exactly you were not doing, for your fingers have begun to seize up with the front of her nightgown. She's not even looking at you. Instead, her gaze is directed beyond your shoulder to the windowsill, the sky beyond it.
It isn't particularly sunny, but I told me it's too cold outside. Going for a walk might not be a bad idea. What do you think, dear one?
You think that you would like to finish undressing the princess as soon as possible so you can make some progress on dressing her again. The sight of all this exposed skin is bad for your heart. Same. Fortunately, you are able to make quick work of the princess's nightgown despite your initial mishaps, spurred on perhaps by your anxiety. You bid the princess to stand, which she does, neatly. She steps out of her nightgown, her motions once again as graceful and as fluid as a dancer's. The task is completed. You search worriedly for the princess's red dress. Where is it? You cannot find it. Sweat begins to prickle down the back of your neck. Your palms, meanwhile, feel uncomfortably clammy. This is me in the presence of any woman.
Oh my god.
The moments pass awkwardly, uneasily as you search, the princess standing there, all the while as naked as the day she was born. Why did you not find her day dress before you stripped her of her night one? What a fool you are!
I'm assuming this is like the 1800s, where like a lot of the nightgown like under stuff is mostly for structure rather than practicality.
The princess, noting your panic, giggles and then says,
Are you looking for my dress?
Yes, you replied, your face flushed. That is what you were doing.
I thought so. I did wonder before you started undressing me, why you not ask where it is? Maybe it slipped your mind.
It had slipped your mind, yes, to your shame. You were too busy trying not to fixate upon the princess's bared skin to think about how to best conceal it.
My dress is in my armoire,
the princess says, glancing over to the aforementioned piece of furniture. That armoire of hers is an intricately carved wooden structure, large enough, or so you estimate, to fit inside it enough dresses to attire a whole ballroom's worth of princesses.
I like to wear the red one. It's my favorite. Would you be a dear and fetch it for me? I don't want to rush you, but it is cold in here, especially when I'm naked.
She raises a good point. You turn away from the princess and make your way to her armoire. Once there, you open its wooden doors and peruse the clothes hanging within. It is just as you expected. Inside the wardrobe lies numerous dresses, all of them finely sewn and decorated with no shortage of ribbons, lace, and iridescent pearls. You find the princess's red dress soon enough, then hurry to her side. With your spoils in hand, you hurry to dress her, concealing once again the princess's pale skin beneath layers upon layers of soft red velvet. She is easier to look at now. You think with her skin concealed. She's literally like, concealed, don't feel.
Don't let them know.
But you're gay.
Okay.
That might have been the most nerve-wracking task you have ever had to accomplish. Even more so than your perilous escape through the foggy forest. Why, it seems like a small miracle can still remember how to breathe.
That's so much better. Thank you, dear one, for your help. You've not been here for a full day, but I already wonder what I'd do without you.
Shyly, you assure the princess that you did nothing. Really, nothing beyond your job. You did not do anything incredible. And in any case, being complimented by somebody so pretty is embarrassing.
Aw, don't be like that. I want to compliment you. Why shouldn't I when you've been so helpful? It'd be rude not to anyway. I think you're pretty too.
Ah! Oh my. Your face flushes from this more deeply than ever before. You ought to count yourself lucky, really, with all of this excessive blushing, that the princess does not seem to possess any vampiristic tendencies.
I think.
You are making yourself quite the easy target.
I think. Now,
the princess declares.
Why don't we go for a walk? It's a nice day and a nice enough day, and I get so very bored of being cooped up inside.
You can't think of any particular objections to raise to this remark, and you think the princess might have a point. The castle, though expansive, is somewhat stifling. The walls are so very thick, and they put you in a mind of a crypt.
I think she's a vampire.
She's probably a vampire.
She's got fangs, her dress, the vampires, the comments.
She's going outside.
We'll see.
Is she a daywalker?
I don't know.
With your acquiescence assured, the princess quits her chamber, and her posture elegant and her gait unhurried. She seems not to walk as she What? She seems not to walk as she navigates her way through the seemingly endless hallways of her home, but to float like a cloud? She floating? The hem of her dress swishes around her legs and her hair shifts like a shroud. The castle's courtyard, meanwhile, is sadly lacking in comparison to the princess's beauty. The courtyard is fenced in by the castle's walls, which look in the stark midday light, tall and imposing. Faceless soldiers standing sentinel. They're actual soldiers? No.
Maybe?
Though the sun is out, it is not particularly bright, and neither is it particularly warm. The courtyard itself, meanwhile, is in a state of disarray. The flower beds are in shambles, all overgrown with weeds. All rather depressing. The princess's castle might be grand in scale, but the courtyard itself is simple. Hemmed in is claustrophobic degree, like a coffin. Not the coffin again.
Not the coffin again.
And the princess, however, seems not to share your dolorous mood. She instead looks elated by her newfound surroundings, her smile unwavering. She gambols like a lamb flitting hither and... Sorry, I thought someone came in.
Did they?
No, I think someone came in.
Oh,
flitting hither and thither as she examines the weed-infested flower beds. Her frolicking comes to a cease, however, by a bush. One is full of bright red roses.
Oh, how pretty! Do you not think they're gorgeous, dear one?
The flowers are not too disappointing, you suppose. They make for a fine spectacle, in fact. A welcome splash of color when contrasted with the dullness of their drabness which permeates the rest of the courtyard. Though the other flowers in their beds are wilted, withered things, it is not so far for these roses. They are rich, bright red, just like blood. Yeah, I think she's a vampire.
Yeah.
Their heads are so full, they also almost seem to droop beneath the weight of their own engorged petals. Engorged? Stop using these terms!
I think
they are
they're
pretty
hinting.
in a sense.
I think they're hinting.
They're definitely hinting. But there is something unsettling about them too. Something that is almost obscene. How did these roses become so red? Blood. Blood.
Gallons of the stuff. Sorry.
What has been sustaining them? It's blood.
Blood.
This is vampire. Could it be possible that these roses have been draining the life other flowers which they are struggling to grow within this garden? It's a fanciful thought, but
Oh, they're simply divine. Looking at these roses always lift my spirits. They really are my most favorite flowers. I simply must pick some of them. Perhaps I can use them to decorate my bedchamber. It could use a bit of color.
the princess reaches out as to pluck one of the roses free from its resting place among its brethren. You watch her, your breath bated, anxious that this gesture might result in a perforated flesh and bright red blood. But the princess is not as clumsy as you fear. Of course she's not. Who did think she was? You? Rather than worrying about the other people, you would be better served if you were worried about yourself. The princess holds her newly pilfered rose to her nose and inhales, her eyelids falling shut as the flower's sweet scent washes over her. A few moments of silence pass. Then the princess begins to toy with the petals which adorn the flower's crown.
Now, let me see. I wonder what fate has in store for me. She loves
She wanted
me.
to decorate her room. Then why is she plucking it?
She's flirting with you.
Okay.
She's flirting with you.
The princess plucks the petal from the flower's overburdened head.
She loves me not.
The princess continues with this child incantation, all the while stripping her rose slowly and methodically of its petals. The petals flutter about the princess like the bloody smoke. The princess's voice, meanwhile, echoes throughout the courtyard, even more melodic than the strains of the... What the hell was that word?
Pianola?
Pianola?
She loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. She loves me not.
The princess's fingers hover over the final petal which crowns her nearly denuded flower. Then the triumphant smile, she declares,
She loves me! I knew it! Yay me!
Oh my god. Okay,
sorry.
Tip in.
Sorry, I had to. The moment was there.
You watch the princess amused by her girlish good cheer. The little mantra she has been reciting, one that you are familiar with. The girls at the conservatoire also used to engage in this little game. The younger ones, at least, who believed that the fairy tale prince would whisk them away. You might have participated in this game yourself when you were a child yourself, but you never pinned your hopes and dreams on a handsome prince. Your interest in princes has always been minimal.
Because you're gay sweaty.
You're gay sweaty. When it comes to fair princesses, though, well, that is a different matter altogether, isn't it? Pleasantly, you ask the princess whose love it is she wishes to court, a query which makes the princesses giggle.
Oh dear one, who else would I be thinking of? Naturally, I was thinking of you.
Naturally.
Yes.
She says it so easily, as though you ought to have suspected as much. And indeed, part of you did. You wanted to believe, yet part of you was afraid to. You do not want to be arrogant enough to assume that the princess might care for your affections. You begin to blush, your cheeks almost as red as the roses, while the princess laughs. She laughs and she laughs and she laughs. Her voice clear and sweet like a nightingale's song, as though you are the funniest thing she's ever seen. You never liked being laughed at when you dwelt within the walls of the conservatoire, but it's different with her. You have not known her for all that long, but you're already entranced by her, ensnared. She has you wrapped around her little finger.
Damn, that's crazy. Oh my.
The princess's laughter tapers off into a series of giggles as, smiling, she wipes the not the sans laugh.
Sorry. That was quite the amusing diversion, but I have an idea.
You look at the princess curiously. What idea?
You can't tell?
You can't even begin to guess.
I just thought, All this watching must be boring to you.
The princess says, tossing the rose's stripped stem carelessly into the ground.
You should give it a try, please. It'll be fun.
The princess retrieves a second rose from the bushes, deftly snapping it between her fingers, and offers it to you.
I want to see what fate has in store for you too.
You smile at the princess, touched by her enthusiasm. Indulging in the childish games like she might... like this might not be the best use of your time, but the princess looks very determined. You would not wish to hurt her. What could be the harm, really, in consenting? The only real casualty of this game would be one singular rose, the rose that the princess is holding towards you. You reach out, meaning to accept the princess's offering, but...
Oh no!
You are clumsy, and you seize the stem with the rose with too much strength. Oh, I got pricked by the thorns, didn't I? The head of the rose might be heavy, but there is more to the rose than its bright red flowers. The roses have thorns too, a fact that you are now being painfully reminded of. Pain flares through your fingers, and you gasp. You take a step back, the hem of your skirt swishing around your ankles. Your fingers are stinging, and so are your eyes. You're bleeding. She's gonna take your blood, dude!
She's gonna lick it. She's gonna lick it.
You ought to have been more careful. Why were you so stupid?
Oh, you poor dear, you're bleeding!
The princess exclaims. Then she frowns.
This is all my fault. If I had not suggested the sewing game, it would have never happened. Please, let me take care of you.
And how is she gonna do that? Perhaps she means to take a handkerchief from your pocket.
She's gonna lick it. She's gonna lick it.
She might staunch your wound. Princesses tend to carry handkerchiefs around them, don't they? Silken ones? How else would they give brave knights tokens of their gratitude once these aforementioned knights have successfully slain dragons? Princesses can hardly dispense kisses as favors. It's simply not done. That is what you always thought, but...
Please hold still. This might sting a little bit.
This princess is anything but ordinary. Rather than take a handkerchief out of your pocket, she instead encloses her white slender fingers around your hand. Carefully, as though she is handling a precious object, she raises your hand, her eyes affixed, all the while the bead of startlingly crimson blood is oozing luridly from your wound. She licks her lower lip. Then she dips her head.
I knew it.
That's gay. She's a vampire.
I knew it.
She's gonna taste your blood, and then she's gonna be addicted to you.
And she's gonna eat you.
And then eat you.
Knew it.
She parts her mouth, and with a soft sigh, which borders on the sensuous, she slips your injured digit into between her teeth. So much for princesses do not dispense kisses as tokens of appreciation. This might not be a conventional kiss, but it feels intimate regardless, almost startlingly so. The princess's lips, which are as red as any rose, are enclosed around your index finger. You can feel the warmth of the princess's mouth about your skin, the wetness of it. The sensation makes your whole body quake. You did not expect this. Tremulously, in a voice which wavers, you ask the princess, what is she doing?
Ow.
Sorry, one sec.
No, you're okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Ow.
The princess glances up at you, her mouth still enclosed around your finger.
Didn't I tell you? I'm trying to stop the bleeding.
What are you doing?
Immersion.
Immersion?
Yeah.
Yes, you gathered as much, but...
Is there a problem? I'm not making you uncomfortable, am I?
It is not you say that she's making you uncomfortable, per se, but it is rather awkward. You did not expect it. That is... Oh... She's not worried about that this is unhygienic?
Unhygienic?
The princess blinks. She's the very picture of innocence, which is funny, really, given your finger is still nestled against her tongue.
I don't know what you mean by that exactly, but I've heard this is the best way to take care of cuts. My nursemaid used to do this for me when I was a child. It's what you're supposed to do.
And you ask, your voice catching in your breath, did her nursemaid keep staunching her wounds when she grew older?
Well, no. But my nursemaid was dismissed when I was 8 years old. That's the normal way of things. I have my ladies' maids to look after me then.
How very interesting. And did she ever clean her wounds like this?
No. Because I'm not clumsy enough. Oh, sorry. No.
The princess is smiling mischievously.
Because I'm not clumsy enough to cut myself silly.
Now, that was quite a sharp retort. You did not expect it. Your face turns even redder. If such a thing is possible, though this might perhaps to be for your benefit. With some luck, all of your blood will flow into your face rather than to your finger, and your bleeding will stop. Has it stopped? Your injury was not a deep one. There should be no need for the princess to keep suckling, but she still is.
Oh my god.
She's just sucking your finger.
Oh my
You
god.
are not accustomed to intimacy of this nature. It is making your heart flutter. If the princess knew what her mouth was doing to you, you were sure she would not be so familiar.
Hello?
You feel quite crushingly confident that she would scorn you for your feelings and deem them unnatural. It could not be the first time. Oh, she got homophobia'd. At this point, you should be used to rejection. It still stings though. It stings much, much more than any thorn would on any rose ever could.
Shit.
Then the days pass, following your misadventures in the rose garden in a relaxed, unhurried sort of manner. Your mad dash through the forest is beginning to feel like a distant memory, so much so, you can scarcely recall the raw, naked fear you once felt as you fled for your life. Oh, excuse me. There's no running to be had while you're working for the princess. You would have nowhere else to run, and in any event, there's no longer any reason to run. The shadows which once tormented you have, at long last, begun to recede. You can scarcely recall, as you lay down in your bed, the petty cruelties you were subjected to by your classmates at the conservatoire. They no longer matter. Your attention is focused upon not upon yourself, but upon the princess. And the more time you expend with her, the more you come to care for her. You've become quite besotted with her, but you are yet to realize it. And well, I never. How very ignorant can one girl be of her own feelings? The princess is not half so ignorant as you are, though. Despite having spent her whole life within the palace's walls, the weight of her own feelings are not unknown to her. And during one stormy night, she chose to make them known to you.
Oh.
You were in the princess's chambers later, perhaps then than you ought to be, later than is strictly appropriate.
Oh god.
Oh goodness, what is happening?
Homosexuality. Homosexuality.
Oh, let's go, lesbians.
I love Pride Month.
It is dark outside, and there is little save for the light of the moon to alleviate it. That and the fire which crackles in the grate. You have only just finished stoking that very fire, and now you rise. You look to the princess who is lying in her bed, and you bid her a good night, as you have many nights past. With a neat curtsy, you turn to leave, but the princess's plaintive voice gives you pause.
Wait, dear one. Do not go. Not just yet.
Alex, pause.
Can
and
I
look back at the princess?
I honestly keep this voice while doing something like this. Oh god. Go ahead.
Though she is smiling, her expression is unusually wan. Is she alright?
Oh, I'm sure I'll be fine. It's just, nights like this, which make me feel a little out of sorts.
And what, you ask? Does she mean by that?
Oh, it's just, it's so cold and it's so dark and it's really windy and I'm scared there might be a storm later. It's awfully cloudy when we went over our walk. Tink, tink, wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
She's really just like, subtle.
Get in bed.
The prince is not mistaken about that. The sky, when the pair of you promenaded about the gardens earlier, was gray and steely, the wind bitingly cold. You can hear the winds rattling mournfully against the panes of the princess's bedchamber. The princess's castle is built of stone, and it is well fortified, but even with the fire, it is rather cold. You do not like to think of how much chillier by comparison it will be in your humble bedchamber, which is not fortunate enough to have its own fireplace.
It might sound childish, but I've always found it hard to sleep on stormy nights like this. They make me uncomfortable.
You're gonna wake up and she's gonna fucking eat you.
She's gonna be biting your neck, dog.
You look at the princess with no small degree of sympathy. No longer clad in her bright red dress, she looks oddly, uncommonly vulnerable. Will she be alright all alone in her oversized bed with her high-ceilinged chamber? You know it is silly of you to contemplate such a query. Why would she not be alright? There's nobody in the castle to hurt her. But still, you fret for her. As her lady's maid, it is your job to fret for her. You never want your mistress to feel unhappy. You ask the princess what it is she would have you do. Princess perks up at this, pleased perhaps. But you are taking the initiative.
I wouldn't like to take up too much of your time when it's so very late, but would you mind sitting with me a little longer and read to me? Provide that you can read, of course.
That is a fair enough question. But your pride bristles regardless. Easily, you reassure the princess that yes, of course you could read. You were a poor student in many aspects in the conservatoire, but you had something of a gift when it comes to the literary arts. Reading books is all you have ever been good at.
Oh, I see. I should have known. You're so incredible. I sometimes wonder if there's anything you can't do. Hey.
The princess's high praise makes you flush. Awkwardly, you look away. Being able to read, you reassure her, is not such a great feat.
Perhaps it isn't where you hail from, but it is here. Very few of my old servants could read, and they certainly couldn't read from the books I like.
This piques your interest. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back, hold on.
This is a great moment for a pee break. I am going to go to the bathroom really quick. I'll be back, guys. I'm back.
Hello.
Sorry about that. Alrighty, continuing on our story. Okay, are you ready?
Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Intrigued, you ask the princess what exactly she likes.
I am so glad you asked. I'm fond of fairy tales, you see. Old ones from centuries past. I have a collection of them here.
The princess says, indicating a book on her bedside table, as thick as a mortuary slab.
This book is old, though, and the bindings are weak. The pages are brittle, the writing is woefully old-fashioned. I don't trust any of my past servants with that book, but I think you would do a great job breathing life into those old stories. Would you mind reading it to me just for a brief while, please? Dear one, please.
The princess' request seems a simple one, expressed sweetly, so much so that you see no reason to refuse her. You take a seat beside the princess upon her luxurious bed, which sinks beneath your weight. Then you retrieve the leather-bound book, which is resting upon her bedside table, and spread it open. The pages of the book are very brittle, like the princess said, and the bindings of the book are loose. You can feel in the heft of the book's manifold pages the weight of the ages concealed within. How old is this book? Perhaps it's as old as the castle in which it resides. It is with a quiet voice, hesitant at first, that you begin to read the princess a tale of courtly love which culminates in a lavish wedding ceremony. All the while, as you read, the princess listens to you, enraptured, hanging, or so it seems, upon your every word. Once you reach the final phrase embossed upon the pages of this aged tome, "And they lived happily ever after," the princess sighs as though the tale has touched her very soul.
With that there... What the heck? How do you say this? With that there was a handsome prince to marry me.
She says somberly.
Or better yet, a beautiful princess. At this point, I think I would even settle for a lowly scullery maid.
You blush at this idle remark and mumble softly that this would not be proper.
Okay, and?
And? The storm outside is still squalling, and you have never been one to raise your voice. You do not expect, therefore, the princess will overhear you, but she does. She observes you, her head resting against her pillows, and says,
"And what would be the problem with that, As my maid, shouldn't my happiness come before any silly ideas of propriety?"
"Well, of course," you reply, but the princess to marry a scullery maid?
You're still hung up about that? Oh my god.
The princess titters.
Don't pay too much heed, I'm just talking myself. As if anything like that would ever happen when there's no priest around to officiate it.
You think there are greater issues with the princess's plan than the lack of a priest, though she does present a good point. The castle is an empty one. Even if the princess were to find somebody that she loves, there would be no one to make such a wonderful wedding official. You cannot help but feel like you have avoided a good deal of nuisance. But by the same token, do you not feel a touch of disappointment? Well, never mind.
That was a nice story,
The princess says.
but I'm not sleepy yet, and it's still storming outside. Will you read me one more?
You would not mind, you reply, but it's getting late. You really ought to return to your own chamber.
I know, but can't you find it in your heart to read one more story for me? Just one. You can choose a short one. I won't complain.
You have some doubts about that, but as before, you cannot resist the princess's demands. It is not, you think, because she is a princess, though that is, of course, part of it, but because she is, Wow. Radiant.
Gay ass.
She's like falling way hard for her.
She really is. Good for you.
You would not, you think, as you turn to the next story recounted in this aged compendium, want to upset her. You would rather cut your own tongue. You read another story to the princess, which is of similar vein to the last impossible adventures culminating at their close in a happy marriage. This tale delights the princess as much as the tale as you read prior, and she begs for another, then another. One bedroom story soon becomes 5, and even then, when the candles which flicker on in the princess's bedside are close to guttering out, the princess is not satisfied. Like a grasping, greedy child, she has never heard of moderation. When she wants something, she seeks to glut herself with it, her only request of that of more. If she were less comely, perhaps in her inability to adhere to the word no would be seen as a character defect. The princess is very comely, however, and so when she makes her next request, you almost agree offhand without considering the ramifications.
I think I could go to sleep now, but the storm is still raging. I feel lonely on my own in this big, empty bed, so... I know.
The princess's eyes light up like the night sky in a thunderstorm.
Oh, why don't you sleep with me?
You stare at the princess, your eyes as wide as goose eggs. Slowly, you blink. Then, just as slowly, you bid her to repeat herself.
Didn't you hear me?
The princess giggles.
Maybe you've been so busy cleaning up after me, you've neglected to clean out your own ears.
Oh my God.
I said, dear one, would you like to sleep with me?
If that is the question she truly means to ask, then it's easy enough to answer. Of course you would like to sleep with her. It would be an honor. But would it really be alright for you to accept such an invitation? It must be a gross breach of protocol, surely, for a lowly domestic such as yourself to share a bed with a princess. You sit upon the princess's bedside, fretting, while she observes with wide, beseeching eyes. She is waiting.
Well, what's the matter, dear one? Why do you tarry so? Could it be...
The princess's lower lip begins to tremble.
Do you not want to lie with me, after all?
Oh my God. Oh, the sorrow present in the princess's voice and in her face makes you feel awfully guilty. Hurriedly, you console her. You tell her in no uncertain terms that if she truly wishes to partake in your company, then you have no qualms with it. Why would you?
Well then, don't just sit in there, you dilly-dallying silly. Come and join me. Come.
And that is what you do. After returning briefly to your own chamber to change into your nightgown, once dressed, you waste no time in returning to your impetuous princess's side. She's already lying in her glorious 4-poster bed, awaiting your return as though you are a knight errant gone away to slay some wicked dragon. The princess giggles when she sees you, and
Sorry.
my God.
Sorry, continue.
In your haste to change, you have made a hash of the buttons, and she bids you to come closer.
Let me fix that for you, silly. Come here.
Oh no, you say. I couldn't possibly let you do that. I am but a servant after all. Should it not be your job to dress her?
Bruh, maybe so.
The princess says.
But I don't mind a bit of roll. She likes roleplay. A bit of role reversal. It makes things more fun. I'm sorry.
You try a few more reputations, but in vain. The princess summarily discards all of them. Quite at the princess's mercy. She might even be more stubborn than you are. You capitulate to your demands. You let the princess unbutton the front of your night dress and then rebutton them. So the fabric of your
shit.
plain...
Sorry. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Okay.
So, wait.
There you go.
Pat's the badge beside her.
Yeah. Now come in. It must be horribly cold out there, but these bed sheets are warm.
Coyly, the princess smiles. Coyly!
And so am I.
Oh! Oh my! Oh my!
I'm losing my mind. Oh my god.
Oh my!
You know, I think I like this story better than the last one.
Yeah, the other one was just depressing.
Yeah, this one's more fun. Sorry, continue, sorry.
You feel warm yourself as you slide into the bed beside the princess.
Nice.
And your face is as red as the gown as the princess so often wears, as red as the roses in the castle's grounds. All the while your heart is fluttering.
Oh god.
It's gonna bite you. And does the princess know what an effect she is having on you?
Oh, absolutely.
Surely she must.
Oh, absolutely.
How could any woman be so blind?
You're so fucking stupid. There.
The princess exclaims once your body is laying beside hers.
That's so much better. Don't you feel cozy now, dear one?
You swallow, and with a shaky voice, you're for sure. Yes, you are cozy. You're quite cozy indeed.
Why do you have pain? Very good. The storm might be raging outdoors, but it can't get us in here. I know it. When I'm with you, I'll be safe. It's strange, but...
The princess reaches out and then takes your hand in hers, twining your fingers together like a chain.
When I'm with you, I feel so very light. It's though nothing in the world can hurt me. You make me feel so safe, so I want to make you feel safe too. I'll take very, very good care of you. I promise.
You return her smile with one of your own, touched by her thoughtfulness, though something about her promise does make you wonder. Should it not be your job to look after her as a domestic? It's giving drunk white girl in the club bathroom.
I could... In a way...
It does, actually.
Oh my god.
And the princess replies after a pause.
But you've been so good at taking care of me already. Now I need to return the favor.
She's gonna wake up and she's gonna have chunks eaten out of her.
As a princess, I'm supposed to look after my vassals. It's all part of the job description.
You were unaware that being a princess came with a job description. You thought the profession came with far fewer written responsibilities and far fewer forms to sign than, say, becoming a doctor or an astrophysicist or a mathematics professor. You tell the princess this sleepily, and she laughs.
You do say some funny things, dear one. I think you must be tired. Rest your head. You've been working so hard. I think you deserve it.
Yes. You think only half conscious. You think you deserve it too. You've been working hard for a long time. Have been running for even longer, but now at long last you feel like you can let your fears go. This is such a trap.
This is a trap.
Your eyelids begin to droop, your body beleaguered by a sudden, all-consuming fatigue.
Oh, God.
God, and in a quiet, understated sort of way, your consciousness conveyed to Morpheus's kingdom. Morpheus! We love Morpheus here. Your sleep is a deep one, despite the storm which rages outdoors. The wind is howling like a couple of wild cats, both locked in a vicious and bloodthirsty bout to the death, but you do not hear it. Swaddled by the warm blankets about you, and soothed by the princess's presence, you are immune from all the ills of the world. When you are with the princess, you feel safe, secure, and, yes, you even feel loved. It is a pity, then.
Here we go.
Do not last for a very long.
Oh,
You're in the dungeon!
Oh, God.
She's gonna lock you up and eat you!
Holy shit. Oh, my God. Wait, it could just be we're locked up. We still don't know if she's the exact cannibal. I think she is, but
She might be I think she's the cannibal.
there's a cannibal. I don't know if it's her though. Okay.
You know that something is wrong, catastrophically so. The moment you open your eyes, your thoughts are hopelessly jumbled, but you are certain that when you fell asleep, it was in a bed, a nice warm bed no less, beneath soft, comfortable sheets. You are not lying in a bed right now, though. You are not, in fact, lying at all.
Oh shit.
Oh shit!
Oh shit.
You're locked up, and you're chained. They're maids. They have the maids' dresses on.
God. Oh no.
Oh my god.
Oh god. Oh.
Oh my! She locked up all her maids.
Well, shit.
Oh my god.
Okay,
You're
maybe there's more context. Yeah, that
Please,
tracks. Written, no.
But she said the minister sent them away. She did it. You were standing instead against a cold hard wall made of stone. The curve of your neck is pressed against the wall so intimately you can feel its icy chill seeping through the fabric of your own nightgown. Your feet, which are bare, are similarly pressed against cold, unfeeling stone. They feel so frigid you cannot help but tremble. You're trembling so much you can feel your teeth chattering together, like they sound like castanets. The sound is almost jaunty as it echoes through your cell, and for that is indeed where you are. The princess's bedchamber wherein you fell asleep is a thing now of the past. You are standing instead, as you realize, with a sharp start in a cell of some great underground dungeon. You swallow, and when you do, you can taste something bitter on your tongue. Your stomach is beginning to churn with anxiety. Pattern recognition, baby. It was so weird how this whole place is empty for me.
Yeah, right?
They've all been dungeoned.
Oh, God.
You feel like you're going to be sick, a feeling which wells up inside you to a staggering degree. When you catch notice of the stench, you're not, and you realize only one in the dungeon. There are others here, others attired in the same black and white outfits as servants, which look much like your dress that you once wore. The others who are with you, however, are in an expansive cell, manacled to the walls, are in no fit state to speak to you, nor to tell you their plights. They're all unfeeling, unseeing, and unbreathing. They're all dead.
Oh,
You
great.
cannot approach these servants to check their pulses, for you yourself are restrained, but even if you could, there would be no point. There's no way any human could survive the wounds which have been inflicted upon these sad, slumped bodies. Over there, you see a woman slumped in front of her once white apron, now blackish blood. There is a gaping wound in her stomach, one through which her entrails have half escaped.
Oh.
In some sort of burgundy goop, which might have once been pale pink. There is another woman slumped beside the first of a smaller stature. She is skinnier. She may not have been a woman after all, but an adolescent like yourself. She might even be younger. The girl's age or lack of did not prelude her attacker from inflicting upon her hoarders. Alas for her body.
Oh, God. Sorry.
Body to even be more mutilated than the first. Her body is peppered with even more wheels, and her face has been half smashed in.
Jesus!
Only one eye remains, staring fixedly at the wall opposite her, in the ruined remains of what once her skull.
Oh my God!
Over there, you see a woman who is missing both her arms and her lower jaw. Over there, you see another woman who is missing her entire lower half. Where have her legs gone? I've been saying your legs are gonna disappear!
Oh my God.
You have no idea! The injuries inflicted upon these bodies are ghastly, but their advanced decay is enough to turn your stomach. You do not know how long these carcasses have been lying down here, and they have begun to putrefy. You fear a similar fate might befall you. Should you stay here? You need to escape. Fitfully, you struggle against the manacles that bind you, but alas, it's no use. You cannot free yourself from the walls. Your restraints are much too strong, and you're much too weak. Panic rises up in your throat, cold and icy, while terror seizes your heart. This is too glacial. Her arms were cut off.
Her arms were cut off. Her legs were cut off. Oh, no. Oh God, this is fine.
It's so obvious that escape is impossible. You still squirm and writhe like a rat caught in a firestorm. There is little point, however, to your struggles. You succeed in nothing as you attempt to free yourself, save for making the steel manacles dig into your bruised wrists more sharply than ever. You gasp. That hurts. Well, you ought to have known that would not work.
There's someone breathing in my ear again. Ah!
Oh.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's probably the princess. She's coming.
I think it's always MC because I could hear breathing in the coffin too, and the shovel in the dirt.
Okay,
so I was like,
it's probably your bated breath, I
guess. Stop breathing in my ear.
Breath.
I didn't ask for all that.
The very definition of insanity is, performing a set of action over and over, hoping for a different response.
Oh God.
Click.
Oh God, sorry. There it goes.
In that sense, perhaps one could argue optimism is not so very different from insanity. Now, that is an interesting point to consider, would you not agree? No, evidently not. You're still trying to escape, you foolish girl. As if that will do you any good. The clangorous rattling of your steely restraints is rather starting to get on my nerves. Yeah, this is a narrator.
Yeah.
Not you. You are making enough noise to raise the dead down there, in your dark, dingy cell, and all your screaming is hardly helping matters. I wish that you would cease this infernal racket, but I know you will not. Nothing I say could ever get through to you. Not that you ever listened to me in the first place. Perhaps you would listen to her, though. Is she not your kind, considerate mistress? Look now, she has come all this way, into the dark depths of the castle's cold, inhospitable dungeon to see you. Is that not kind of her?
Oh, dear one.
Oh God. The princess trills, entering the dungeon with a series of light, lilting steps.
It would seem like you've finally awoken. How are you? Based on all that infernal racket you've been making, it would seem like you have no shortage of energy.
Balefully, you turn your head so as to meet the eyes of the princess. She is standing but a few paces away, beneath the roughly hewn stone arch which bids one entry, but rarely ever an exit, to the dungeons. The dungeons are dull and drab, but the princess is wearing her favorite red dress. It is so bright and brilliant that for a few moments it hurts to look at her. Once the red of the princess's outfit made you think of romance. Now it makes you think of violence.
You must forgive me for leaving you down here for so long. That was unfair of me. But I did think of waiting here with you by your side until you woke, but...
Once again, the princess giggles. A light, airy giggle which does not at all suit the situation in which you have found yourself.
A dungeon is not a fit place after all for a princess. It is so horribly cold in here and so very drab. There is nowhere nice and soft to lay my head. I could have brought my pillows down from my bed, I suppose, and my blankets. But then they would have gotten dirty and that would have been a disaster. I need to be more careful. I won't have anybody left to clean up after my messes soon. Not when I've dispatched you.
Once again, the princess laughs. Her laughter is light and lilting, like the chiming of a silvery bell, but it does little to alleviate your concern. If anything, it makes you even more alarmed. Did she say she meant to dispatch you?
Yeah, that's right. Could you not tell? I thought that you might have figured it out already after waking up in a dungeon, silly.
Still
Oh, God.
smiling, the princess takes another step towards you. Would that you would cringe away from her, but you cannot. You are completely powerless. Oh.
Oh.
The princess reaches out and places a hand upon your cheek. Her skin is very white, and though her touch is cool, it is less so than the frigid air of the dungeon. Though your body is aching, the princess's touch is gentle, and you find yourself leaning into it subconsciously. You wish she would keep holding you.
That's
You
whipped.
wish she would keep touching you. You luxuriate in her kindness as best as you can. But the princess's caresses are tender, your circumstances rather undermine them. How can you relax like this?
Ah, you're such a good girl.
Princesses say in a cajoling sort of voice, as one might address a cat.
I can't say this. Oh my god.
You're speaking to Nogi.
Nogi. You've been so lovely to me while we've been together. Oh shit. I couldn't ask for a better servant. I feel as though I've been spoiled. Okay, there we go.
Why, then, you ask her, is she doing this? Improbable though it sounds, she must have been the one who chained you up. There's nobody else in the castle who would have committed such a feat. Everyone else is dead.
Why, yes, how very astute of you. I was the one who orchestrated all of this naturally.
Naturally, she says, as though her betrayal is a matter of course. Naturally. Why, you ask, is this so natural to her? What does she mean to do with you?
Only what I've done to all my other servants. I have experience with this sort of thing, so please don't worry. I'll take good care of you.
And by take good care of, she means...
Naturally, I'll kill you.
There it is again. That word which seems grossly inappropriate given all which has transpired. Naturally. There's nothing natural about this.
Do you not think so?
The princess examines you, her expression ponderous.
It's natural to me, even if it isn't natural to other people. It just feels right.
Imprisoning her servants in the dungeon and letting them die?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. There is a bit more to that than that, though.
Oh, of course there is.
I like you, dear one.
The princess says in a voice which sounds uncommonly serious.
You've been good to me, like I said, and kind. And for that, I will be eternally appreciative. You've been so good to me, in fact, that simply being with you is not enough, not anymore. Your company can no longer content me. I am greedy, selfish, you see.
The princess's smile widens into something sinister, her eyes flashing with a fiendish fervor you have never before witnessed.
And I don't want to feel you beside me.
You.
I want to feel you inside me.
She's gonna eat you!
Wow.
Well, of all the things your charming captive could have said, he did not expect that. The princess, perhaps noticing your confusion, begins to giggle. A giggle even lighter than the meringue and just as airy. Not vor!
I did know that I knew that the cannibalism was coming eventually.
It's just as inoffensive.
I can see that you don't understand, dear one. But you aren't the only one. My last lady's maid said that too.
Wanly, the princess sighs, a beleaguered woe is me sigh, which makes her look even younger than the scant handful of years she truly possesses.
And the one before that, and the one before that, and the one before that. I thought that you at least might be able to appreciate my point of view, but perhaps not. I don't think it should be too complicated to grasp, really. But maybe my way of looking at the world is a little bit unique. That's what my nurse always used to say, at least when she still had the breath to speak, of course.
You look at the princess. Where else is there for you to look, really? Your eyes are affixed to her face. She's still smiling, but there's something sinister about her smile. Or perhaps, in your anxious state, you're only imagining that there is something sinister about her smile. Easy to see things which do not really exist when your surroundings are festooned in shadows. In actuality, however, the princess does not look any different from how she usually does. Neither is she acting any differently from to the way she usually acts. She has not changed. It is only your perspective of her that has changed. Tremulously, you ask the princess what she means, a question the princess is only too happy to answer.
It's simple, really. Like I said, you were wondering, weren't you, why there weren't any guards or servants in the castle when you first arrived here?
The question had crossed your mind, yes. You are sure that the princess said her minister sent them away, though. Was that a lie?
I wasn't being wholly truthful, no. I thought you would be afraid of me if you knew what had actually happened, and I didn't want that. Why don't you stay with me? My ministers didn't send anybody away because I don't have any ministers. I dispatched of them too.
Did she now?
Obviously.
You suppose you ought to not be surprised, but you still shudder regardless.
My ministers weren't very much fun, I'm afraid. They had a lot of ideas about what I should and shouldn't do after my parents died.
The princess stares at you, her eyes wide like black holes, empty, yawning abyss.
So I killed them. I killed my servants too, though I did a more thorough job with them than I did my ministers. I did not care for my ministers, you see. They were all fusty old men, but I did love my servants. I loved my ladies' maids, and my undermaids, and my scullery maids, and my housekeeper, and my cooks, and my large retinue of retainers. They were like my family. They raised me in my parents' absence, and I adored them. They were so very dear to me that I had no real choice. I had to eat them. Does that follow?
Logically, no! Why would the princess... Why, you ask the princess, your voice trembling, would you eat the people that you love? It seems a poor way to repay them for their kindness.
Well, why wouldn't you eat the people that you love? I don't think there could be any greater way of showcasing one's gratitude, unless you have any better ideas.
You weren't expecting the princess to turn the tables on you quite like this, and, dumbfounded, you stare at her. You know precious little about love yourself, so it's hard for you to form a convincing rebuttal, but you muster up a few token arguments. You tell the princess that eating people isn't very nice, and neither is it strictly legal. A better way to show your gratitude to your servants would be to increase their wages, or increased holidays. The princess listened to your arguments, her expression astute, like a student poised to take notes in a very important lecture. Once you're finished, however, her concentration fails her. Her shoulders begin to shake, and it is not with remorse for what she has done. Instead, she's laughing.
Oh, dear one, that's very funny. But why should I care about the law? I'm a princess. One day I'll be the queen, and I am the law.
That is a good point. But would eating people not turn her subjects against her?
What subjects? I'm no fool, you know. No matter how I might act, and I know what happens beyond this castle's walls. I know all about the plague. Once I might have had a populace to govern, but they're all gone now. I'm a princess in nothing but name only, a monarch without any subjects. Don't you think that's sad? I know I do. It's so woefully lonely.
If she feels lonely, then why has she been systematically slaughtering all her domestics? It doesn't make a lick of sense.
Perhaps not to you.
Gently, the princess caresses your cheek.
But I shouldn't judge you too harshly. As much as I like you, dear one, you're a commoner. Perhaps you can't understand the intricacies of my thoughts.
Privately, you doubt that anybody would be able to understand the intricacies of the princess's thought process, largely because it is unreasonable. You don't say that, though. Instead, you ask her the only question you can think of to ask, with your weary throat, which is sore from shouting. Why?
Why, you ask?
The princess blinks.
It's because I don't want you to leave me, of course. Everybody leaves sooner or later, whether they have pledged their allegiance to me or not. That is simply the way of the world. People are fickle and inconsistent, even to me, a monarch. That's why I decided to eat my servants. I had no choice, you see. It was the only way to ensure that they would never leave me. When you think about it, they should be grateful that I would demean myself so, to consume their flesh and blood. I am a monogamous ruler, you see.
Magnanimous.
And I treat all my subjects equally. I love every single one of you. And naturally, I love you too. You've been awfully nice to me, and you are very pretty alongside it. Nice. Yes. If you were a plain ugly girl, perhaps I would not shower you with affection quite as intense as this, but you've captured my heart and I think you're lovely. So I'll bestow upon you the highest honor I can conceive of. I want your body to mix with mine, and then we can stay together forever and ever.
The princess leans in. What? The princess leans in. You could feel her soft silken hair brushing against your cheeks. You can feel, too, the warmth of her breath as it goes against your skin.
Nice.
It is cold in the dungeon, but the princess's close proximity is perverse, though this might sound something of a comfort. Her eyes are wide and her lips are so red. Her smile, meanwhile, so sweet.
I've been doing my best to fulfill the role that fate has dictated for me, but really?
The princess exhales. Her eyes which are boring into yours, are like two dark tarns. Finally, you think you can see, in the alarming lack of light, the lack of anything, the princess's gaze, some degree of some degree of humanity.
It gets so lonely here.
But this brief flicker of understanding which passes between the pair of you, is soon cut short. The princess dips her head. She parts her lips, which are as red as the petals. Carnivorous flower.
Oh God.
She's gonna eat you! You can feel the princess's breath against your neck. It is warm in the icy chill of the dungeons, and you shudder from it. For a few moments you think that this overture of the princess's could be romantic in a way, but this comes to a swift, merciless close.
I knew she was a vampire. I knew it.
The princess's mouth is on your neck. The princess's teeth, sharp as needles, are in your flesh. The princess is draining your blood.
I knew she was a vampire.
She's a vampire! She is supping on it in great greedy gobbets, like a hungry animal who cannot truly comprehend the harm it is causing. Even as the princess sups from you, her arms twined around your body, around your waist, and you cannot hate her.
Mood.
She's far too unworldly.
Mood. I don't know. I think I can forgive her.
You can forgive her?
Hey, she's just biting us. She could be stabbing us right now.
She's biting and draining your blood.
Vampires are as vampires do. Sorry.
Vampires are as vampires do.
It's fine. Pride Month.
Pride Month. Sins forgiven.
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
You are sure as your consciousness begins to fade that the princess was being sincere when she spoke of her love of her past servants. This is simply the way the princess expresses the great love of hers, a love which is so very abundant it borders upon the monstrous. It is a love you never thought you would ever experience. This love of the princesses eclipses anything you could have ever known before. It eclipses sanity. It eclipses reasons. It eclipses all notions you might once have had of right or wrong. The princess, as well as you know full well, does not care about such concepts. You have always possessed a stubborn core nestled beneath your weak-willed exterior, but the princess is even stubborner than you are. In the face of her love, you have met your match. The princess draws back desperately. You grasp for air, but she does not give you any quarter. As before, she dips her head, her lips redder still with your blood, then splits apart her jaw.
Whoa.
She just, whoa.
I love monster girls. This is fine.
Her teeth, which are inhumanly sharp, glint wickedly like knives.
Yes!
She then tears out your throat.
Yes!
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 And more. Oh god, the front of your nightgown was white once. Now it is red.
That's fine.
There is so much blood you can smell it and you inhale sharper than metal. It is so potent that you can taste it on your tongue. You try to inhale, but the task proves to be beyond you, what with the twin perforations that have ruptured your skin. Your attempted breaths, when they escape your lips, sound like sad, sorry wheezes. Your whole body, meanwhile, feels as though it is on fire. You make for the quiet, sorry sight indeed. But you'll forgive me if my sympathy is limited. You did bring this upon yourself, you know.
Damn straight I
You
did.
reap what you sow, and in
Do it
your
again.
case, you made a series of bad decisions which led to your untimely demise.
I'd do it again.
Now, what do you want to do? Will you accept your fate and rest in peace, or will you try to fight against it?
Oh, no shit, we're gonna fight against it. But I
We're
would,
gonna go through
honestly,
the
I
other
would pick
path.
this one. I don't know what happens if you accept your fate, though, so I'm just gonna...
I think it just ends it, and you just die. But pretty sure if you fight against it, you're allowed to take the next path.
Yeah.
It is impressive how defiant you can be, even in a situation as discomforting as this. Now, try not to cry. Keep your chin up. This is but a minor setback in your story.
Yeah, this is fine.
Like all fair maidens, you are deserving of your own happy ending.
Yeah.
You need only the strength to try and seek it out.
Why don't we give
Why
this
don't
another
we give this
go?
another go?
Okay.
And try not to ensnare the hearts of any more monarchs, particularly those with unusual appetites. You are destined for far higher purposes than to be an entree. And there are vastly more enjoyable ways to be eaten in this world.
Oh! Hello?
Just a flesh wound.
So there's only one path that I can take, but I don't know if we have enough time to do the whole shore route. So I'm gonna save really quick.
Yeah, save it. I think there is, like, I feel like even if you take this, it's probably going to give you another option to fight against your fate. It might unlock a secret ending.
Yeah, I'm thinking. I think I got a bunch of pictures too. I'm pretty sure.
Let's check
Yeah! Yeah! Being buried alive! Yeah, there's 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dang, that's cool.
No.
Oh, wow. It moves. Did not know that. Nice. Nice. Nice.
Nice.
Nice, nice, nice. Does this one move?
Yeah, so I think the top 2 is the shore, and the bottom 2 is probably the secret ending.
Yeah. I feel like I was supposed to do the shore first.
I don't think it really matters. You're still gonna get them all regardless.
I guess. I think it was just like more like a continuity kind of thing. Like this was supposed to be like the, oh shit, like, oh man, we got way into it, huh? You know?
Yeah.
I still think being buried alive is worse.
Oh, you don't know what the shore is, so
yeah, I don't know what the shore is. The 2 warnings that I got were for being buried alive and cannibalism. But I don't know if I would count that as cannibalism because I think she's a vampire. She got sharp teeth, and
I don't. Maybe you're still being eaten by a person.
I mean, technically,
I suppose.
I suppose.
I
guess. Yeah, if I had more time, though, we would do the next one. But that just means like maybe next week we can finish it up. Pride Month.
Pride Month.
Pride Month. All right, I'm gonna go ahead.
Excuse.
Okay, I'm gonna do my closing statements. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
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 Oh goodness gracious. Well, I think that went well. I didn't know what to expect, and this is the first visual novel that I've played in like a hella long time. But I think that was fun. I had a good time. Honestly, I want to finish it, but tomorrow we're not streaming because we have friends that are streaming and I want to watch and support them. And then after that, what was I doing after that? Yeah, Saturday is game night with friends. Haven't figured out what the game is yet, but I'll figure it out later. No, I'm back. Hello, I know. But yeah, so I don't know what I'm doing Saturday yet. I'm gonna figure it out. My brain says Fortnite again, but my heart says something else. Play spooky games. Tried Dead by Daylight again, seeing as how I figured out my technical issues. Soon I shall join the ranks. Oh my god, Rin, download Fortnite. Play Fortnite with me. Come on, it'll be fun. But yeah, I'll see you guys again on Saturday. Goodbye forever.